After a few months, she could understand most of the books. Before, Lin Wanshu would bring her books and old newspapers every week. In addition to storybooks, she would also specially find some interesting history and geography books for her. It must be said that the books she chose were really to Feng Qiuyan's liking. Especially geography books. After reading them, she felt like a new world had opened up. It turns out that this world is so big and so wonderful. There are not only mountains but also seas, grasslands, snowfields, canyons. Just by looking at the description in the book, Feng Qiuyan was fascinated and wished she could grow a pair of wings and fly over to see the different scenery. Reading can really broaden your horizons. Feng Qiuyan took the heavy book and held it tightly in her arms as if she were holding some treasure. Thank you, Wanshu. I'll bring you some medicine tomorrow. I've picked a lot of good stuff lately. In addition to studying, Feng Qiuyan also learned about many medicinal herbs and learned the basic processing of medicinal materials. Lin Wanshu bought some expensive medicinal materials directly at the market price. At first, Feng Qiuyan refused to take the money, but finally she agreed to accept it after Lin Wanshu's strong request. But she refused to charge the full price and only asked for half. There was no other way. Lin Wanshu could only give her some daily necessities. For example, the clothes she was wearing were made of defective fabric that she brought back from Wen City. The defective parts can be cut off and it will not affect the making of clothes. Perhaps because she can earn money, Feng Qiuyan feels more confident and calm. Before leaving, she stuffed Lin Wanshu with a handful of leeks she had just cut. Lin Wanshu gave her were all put into a bag. Feng Qiuyan carried the books in one hand, held the hoe with the other, and walked back carrying the vegetables. I got home. Dohua happened to come back from outside. Dohua was wearing a skirt made of the same fabric as hers. She took good care of her clothes. Even after being out for so long, they were still clean and barely had any wrinkles. Lu Jingsong is not at home. Or maybe he went out on a mission after the new year and hasn't returned yet. Feng Qiuyan suspected that he was avoiding her. But this is a good thing for her. She doesn't want to live with him under the same roof all day long. It would be awkward. There are only mother and daughter in the whole family, and Feng Qiuyan is very happy. Putting down the dustpan, she took out a handful of leeks, washed them with water, chopped them up, added 2 eggs, and fried them. After the Chinese New Year, she also adopted 2 hens. Now she doesn't have to buy eggs and has eggs to eat every day. Put the fried leek eggs into the pan, and soon the whole kitchen was filled with a delicious smell. Dohua stood on tiptoe and looked into the pot. When she saw the leeks wrapped in eggs, she couldn't help swallowing hard. Feng Qiuyan touched her little head and said with a smile, "Dohua, go and help your mother put the stools in place. We will be able to eat soon." She had already cooked the porridge in advance, and now all she had to do was fry an egg. The mother and daughter had a meal with vegetables and eggs, which was considered a very good dish for them. Hearing that it was time to eat, Dohua cheered and ran to the table. Although she is not tall, she works very efficiently. After a while, the stools were set up. The stools were placed. Dohua went to the cupboard and took out 2 sets of bowls and chopsticks. Then, she picked up the ladle, poured half a ladle of water into the basin, washed the dishes and placed them on the table, waiting obediently for her mother to come. Soon, Feng Qiuyan prepared the fried eggs with leeks. Washing the pot and pouring some water into it, I put the dishes on the table. Seeing that her daughter even washed the dishes, she praised her. Tofu pudding is awesome. He can even help mom wash the dishes. Dohua has been praised by her mother every day in the past few months and has become more and more confident and cheerful. I can also take a bath by myself. Mom, can you let me take a bath by myself later? As she spoke, she puffed out her chest proudly. Oh, it seems that our little Dohua has grown up and can even take a bath by himself. Feng Qiuyan continued to praise generously. She had a suppressed childhood, but fortunately, she was lucky enough to meet Lin Wanshu. With her repeated encouragement and help, Feng Qiuyan gradually regained her confidence. She was really no worse than others. It only took her a few months, and she was able to read independently. Without Lu Jingsong at home, both mother and daughter were very relaxed. Eating and taking a shower, they went back to the house. However, Fang Qiuyan did not plan to sleep. Instead, she turned on the light and read a book by the bed. She has saved more than 30 yuan now. Now that she has money, she is willing to use electricity. Otherwise, you won't be able to learn much just by relying on daytime hours. Dou Hua probably played too much during the day and fell asleep quickly as soon as he lay down on the bed. Fang Qiuyan was holding a book that Lin Wanshu had given her specifically for identifying medicinal herbs. Although the text was difficult to understand, she still forced herself to study hard. When you come across an unfamiliar word, look it up in a dictionary. It was almost 11 o'clock in the evening when Fang Qiuyan felt that she could hardly keep her eyes open, so she put down the book. Rubbing her eyebrows, she prepared to go to the bathroom and then come back to sleep. It was pitch black outside, and you couldn't see your hand in front of you. Only the light coming from the room could barely illuminate the path in the yard. It's just that the toilet is in the corner, and the light doesn't reach that far. Fang Qiuyan could only move forward in the dark. After finally finding the toilet door, she was about to go in when she ran into a wall of flesh. Fang Qiuyan didn't expect that there was someone in the toilet. She was bumped into and saw stars. She almost lost her balance. Careful! In the darkness, a man's deep and powerful voice was heard, and then Fang Qiuyan felt her arm being grabbed by a rough big hand. It's Lu Jingsong. Hearing this familiar voice, Fang Qiuyan's heart skipped a beat, and she reflexively took 2 steps back. After she stood firm, she looked at the tall figure in the darkness with some shock. You're back. Although she knew he would come back sooner or later, Fang Qiuyan was still frightened at the moment. After calming herself down, she greeted him awkwardly. Lu Jingsong had just returned and had not even had time to return to his room before going to the bathroom. I didn't expect to run into her as soon as I came out. Taking back his empty hand, he pursed his lips and responded. Fang Qiuyan had nothing to say to him originally, not to mention that they had just experienced such an embarrassing scene before he went on the mission. After greeting him, she fell silent. I thought he would make way for her to go in, but I didn't expect him to stand at the toilet door. Although it was dark, she could still feel the man's scrutinizing gaze. Fang Qiuyan felt extremely uncomfortable. Finally, she had no choice but to ask, "Do you have anything else to do?" Fang Qiuyan finished speaking. Lu Jingsong finally withdrew his gaze after a while.
Fine.
As he said this, he moved aside and opened the toilet door to her. Fang Qiuyan walked quickly into the bathroom in the dark and locked the door with a click. Outside the door, Lu Jingsong rubbed his hands subconsciously. In the palm of my hand, the soft and smooth touch seems to still remain vaguely. He raised his hand and looked at it. A hint of doubt flashed in his eyes. She seems a little different from before, but it was too dark and he couldn't see clearly. Lu Jingsong had no choice but to suppress his doubts and went back to the house. When she heard his footsteps fade away, but when she thought about living under the same roof with him in the future, she couldn't help but feel a headache. Suppressing the irritability in her heart, Fang Qiuyan urinated and quickly went back to the house. Someone had been asked to repair the door lock, so she locked it immediately after entering the house. She just lay in bed, tossing and turning, and couldn't fall asleep. I finally fell asleep, but the dream was filled with a blushing scene. In the middle of the night, Fang Qiuyan was awakened and couldn't fall asleep again. Covering her chest with her hands, she gasped for breath, her eyes full of disbelief. How could she have such a dream? And the man in the dream was obviously Lu Jingsong. Fang Qiuyan felt sick when she thought about the fact that she would dream about that. It was pitch black outside, and I didn't know what time it was. But she never dared to close her eyes again. She finally made it to dawn, and when she heard Lu Jingsong go out, she quickly got up from the bed. Brushing her teeth and washing her face, she didn't even put on facial cream. She hurriedly made breakfast and put it on the table, then carried the backpack to Lin Wanshu's house. Many military wives came to Lin Wanshu's house early in the morning, and it seemed that they all came to deliver medicine. The whole yard was bustling with activity. There were so many people around that Fang Qiuyan didn't go forward and just sat in the pavilion waiting quietly. Fortunately, the military wives did not stay long. After putting down the medicine, they left one after another. Lin Wanshu sent away the last military wife. She also came to the pavilion. As soon as she entered, she saw Fang Qiuyan with dark circles under her eyes, and she was shocked. "Qiuyan, what's wrong? Didn't you get enough rest last night?" Seeing that she was in a very depressed mood, Lin Wanshu asked with concern. Fang Qiuyan forced a curl of the corners of her lips. "It's nothing. I just have some insomnia." How could she have the nerve to tell her about last night's dream? When Lin Wanshu heard her say she had insomnia, she did not doubt it and asked, "Should I prescribe some tranquilizers for you?" Hearing this, Fang Qiuyan subconsciously wanted to say no. In fact, she was reluctant to trouble Lin Wanshu. After all, she owed her too much. But when she thought of the dream she had last night, she changed her mind and said, "Then just prescribe some for me." She never wanted to have that dream again. Lin Wanshu took Fang Qiuyan back to the pharmacy, prescribed her a patch, and then checked the medicine she brought today. All the medicines in the backpack have been processed and sorted. Lin Wanshu took a look and found that most of them were relatively precious medicinal herbs. She took out the medicines from the basket one by one, her eyes full of amazement. Talent is truly a magical thing. It only took her a few months to learn about so many medicinal herbs and handle them so well. Lin Wanshu weighed the precious medicinal materials and did the math. She took out 50 yuan and handed it to her. Fang Qiuyan's eyes widened when she saw the 5 $10 bills handed to her. "Why so much?" "I don't want so much, just give me 20. Hearing this, Lin Wanshu felt helpless. "The herbs you picked this time are all quite precious. They're not cheap outside. I am taking advantage of you. Please accept them." Using the herbs collected by the military wives, Lin Wanshu restored several prescriptions. Other military wives were not as good as Fang Qiuyan's, and the money was not much, but even a small mosquito is still meat, and when the military wives saw that they could make money, they were all excited. When she has nothing to do, she goes to the mountains to collect herbs. As soon as Lin Wanshu comes back, she brings the herbs over. After a few months, each military wife earned more or less 20 to 30 yuan in total. However, Lin Wanshu could not use all the medicinal herbs. She sold the ones she couldn't use to state-owned pharmacies. She handles are naturally incomparable to ordinary medicinal materials, and the price is relatively better. After selling it a few times, the money he got back was almost equal to what he paid to the military wives. It can be said that she is making a profit by collecting medicine from military wives. It's not that there weren't some military wives who secretly took medicinal materials to state-owned pharmacies. However, they only did some preliminary processing and the pharmacy would not accept it, so in the end they took it back and sold it to her. Lin Wanshu didn't take it to heart. After all, human nature is greedy. Lin Wanshu, Fang Qiuyan had no choice but to accept the 50 yuan. After putting the money into her pocket, she felt dizzy. She earned $50 in one go. In the past, Fang Qiuyan would never have dared to even think about this. It is true that knowledge changes destiny. Thinking about how much money she could earn by collecting herbs, Fang Qiuyan was no longer sleepy and felt full of energy. She even wanted to go up the mountain now and pick some more. Just then, Ji Hualan's voice came from the yard. "Wanshu, are you home?" Lin Wanshu had just put away the herbs and responded when she heard this. "I'm here, what's wrong?" As soon as he finished speaking, Ji Hualan also arrived at the door of the pharmacy. "Wanshu, the pharmaceutical factory, will be completed in a month. The commune secretary said that he has called together the team leaders and is waiting for you to attend the meeting." In the commune, 4 or 5 team leaders were sitting in the office, each with a look of confusion on their face. "Hey, Laoli, do you know why the secretary called us here?" The Shipa Brigade nudged Li Qiyuan next to him with his arm and asked with a strange look on his face. "Who knows?" Li Qiyuan hadn't heard any news and was completely confused at the moment. Standing nearby, heard this and lowered his voice mysteriously and said, "I heard that it seems like a military wife in the army wants to tell us something." Upon hearing this, Li Qiyuan's face immediately turned bad. "Why is this military wife looking for a meeting with us? Are you bored?" She is a soldier's wife and has nothing to do with them. What is there to talk about? The team still had to bring water to the rice fields today, and before he had time to arrange the task, he was called to a meeting. I hope it's not something trivial. If you delay his water diversion, don't blame him for cursing you. The other people didn't look very good either. The weather has been very dry this year, and the crops in the fields are dying. Everyone was so anxious that their mouths were about to bubble. They just wished they could go up to the sky and hide under the ground to find water to irrigate the crops. How could they have the mood to hold a meeting? Amidst the complaints, one person seemed particularly calm. That is Wu Jiang, the captain of the uphill team. Patting Qian Jiefeng's arm, he asked curiously, Qian Jiefeng, do you know the name of that military wife? Qian Jiefeng scratched his head and smiled awkwardly. I can't remember clearly, it seems to be something like Lin Shu. Hearing this, Wu Jiang looked a little excited. Is your name Lin Wanshu? Oh, yes, that's the name. Qian Jiefeng also got the information from the commune secretary. I heard that she wanted the team to plant something, so she asked the secretary to call us to the meeting. Qian Jiefeng also got the information from the commune secretary who informed him. However, no one knows what to plant specifically. Hearing this, Li Qiyuan's face became even worse. Nonsense. Most of our brigade's land is mountainous, with only a little flat land. If we don't grow crops, will we starve? She, a military wife, no? Why should she point fingers at them? Did he even use his connections to ask the secretary to invite them to a meeting? The other people's faces were equally grim, and they all followed suit. That's right. I've been farming for 30 or 40 years. Don't I know better than her what to plant and what not to plant? Is the secretary out of his mind? Land and crops are their life. When it comes to farming, everyone is excited. After all, if the grain production is low, people will starve to death. Everyone calm down first. Let's wait for the military wife to come and hear what she has to say. Wu Jiang had a deep impression of Lin Wanshu. After all, she was not only a good doctor, but also found so many potato chips for the team, allowing them to successfully survive the disaster. Wu Jiang believed that Lin Wanshu was not the kind of person who would act recklessly. But no one else has ever dealt with Lin Wanshu. How could the captains remain calm when they heard that she wanted to tell them what to plant? Amidst the noise, Secretary Meng Dezhong appeared. Among the people accompanying them, in addition to a few staff members, there were also 3 unfamiliar women. Realizing that the military wife who was going to hold a meeting with them was one of them, the captains looked at the female comrades with angry eyes. Meng Dezhong smiled attentively and gestured to Lin Wanshu. Comrade Lin, please. Hearing this, everyone's eyes fell on the woman with a bulging belly but a stunning appearance. Does that mean she wants to hold a meeting for them and instruct them on how to farm? Lin Wanshu felt the unfriendly gazes from below, but she did not panic. Instead, he made a gesture of invitation to Meng Dezhong. Secretary Meng, please. Finally, the 2 of them, along with 2 secretaries, Ji Hualan and Fang Qiuyan, entered the conference room. Several people sat down at the long table in the conference room. It was Fang Qiuyan's first time attending a commune meeting. Although she was a little nervous, she didn't show it on her face. Ji Hualan is already an old hand at holding meetings. She has attended all kinds of meetings, big and small, and sitting at the long table, she feels like she is at home. Lin Wanshu was the person in charge of the group in her previous life, so she had the upper hand over small meetings like this. After sitting down, looking at the captains with glared eyes across from her, Lin Wanshu smiled and said, I guess everyone is very curious about the content of the meeting now, right? Comrade, if you have something to say, please speak up quickly. We still have to go back to bring water to the rice fields. We don't have that much time. Li Qiyuan was impatient and didn't want to listen to her nonsense, so he said with a stern face, That's right. What kind of meeting is this? Hurry up and tell us to stop growing crops and grow something else. That's impossible. Qian Jiefeng frowned and looked at Lin Wanshu. Meng Dezhong's face suddenly turned dark when he saw how ferocious they all looked. What are you arguing about? I told you guys to come to a meeting, not to quarrel. Once the secretary spoke, no matter how unhappy the team leaders were, they had to shut up. The conference room soon became quiet again. Meng Dezhong smiled at Lin Wanshu. I'm sorry, Comrade Lin, they are all farmers and don't know the rules. Please continue. Lin Wanshu smiled and said, It's okay. After that, she didn't keep the secret any longer, but went straight to the point. I came to you today to discuss a cooperation. If it goes through, each person in each of your teams can increase their income by an average of 70 to 80 yuan per year. After hearing this, the captains who were originally indignant were shocked on the spot. After coming to his senses, Qian Jiefeng swallowed hard and asked Wu Jiang, Old Wu, is there something wrong with my ears? This military wife said she wants to cooperate with us? And she wants everyone in our brigade to make money? Wu Zhang's head was also buzzing with shock from Lin Wan's words. My ears may be defective. I also heard Comrade Lin say that he wanted to cooperate with us. An increase of 70 or 80 yuan per person per year.
What is the concept?
You know, an ordinary member only earns about 100 yuan a year by working hard. After deducting daily expenses, there is nothing left. Now she says she can nearly double their income? Li Qiyuan looked at Lin Wanshu with suspicion. How could a woman like her have such great abilities? To himself, he didn't believe what Lin Wanshu said at all. Wu Jiang didn't care what Li Qiyuan said, but looked at Lin Wanshu expectantly. Comrade Lin, can you tell me how we work together? Lin Wanshu nodded and continued. Our army has opened a pharmaceutical factory and needs to purchase medicinal materials on a long-term basis, so we want to cooperate with you. When they heard that the army had opened a pharmaceutical factory, all the captains became very nervous. They want to grow herbs to produce medicine for the troops? What an honor! Wu Jiang stood up immediately. Comrade Lin, as long as the army needs us, we will cooperate at any time. Money or no money is a small matter. Not to mention that the security of the border is guarded by this group of lovely people. Just take the rescue provided by the mudslide troops last year. Even if they didn't want money, they would still give it to the troops. It is a great honor for them to provide medicinal materials to the troops. When the others heard this, they responded one after another, unwilling to be left behind. Comrade Lin, our downhill team can also fully cooperate. As for us, as long as you give the order, I will go back and ask people to clear the land. Even Li Qiyuan, who had the most objections just now, patted his chest and said that he didn't want a penny and could plan it for the troops immediately. Lin Wanshu was deeply moved when she heard the passionate words of the crowd. What a simple and lovely person. Thank you, everyone. But let's be clear, since this is a cooperation, we certainly can't let you work for nothing. We don't need farmland, we can just plant directly on the slopes. Captains heard this, they became even more excited. Slopes are inherently barren, so the yield from growing crops is low, and the value of growing anything else is also low. They have always been troubled by what to do with the land. Now they don't have to waste farmland and can use the sloping land to increase extra income. This is a huge thing. The captains, who were originally full of resentment, suddenly changed their attitude 180 degrees. Everyone rushed to sign up to grow herbs, were afraid that it would be too late and they would not be able to enjoy this good opportunity. However, growing medicinal herbs is not something that can be done overnight. Lin Wanshu added, in the early stage, when the herbs have not been planted, you can go up the mountain to collect them. We will pay you according to the purchase price for what you have collected. The team leaders heard that they could still go up the mountain to collect herbs to sell. They almost cried for joy. The weather is dry this year, and it is foreseeable that the rice production this season will be reduced. If they could have an extra income, their team would have an extra way to make a living. As the secretary of the commune, Meng Dezhong watched the drought everywhere this year and was so anxious that his mouth was bubbling. Unexpectedly, the situation took a turn for the better, and the army actually wanted to sign a cooperation agreement with them, allowing them to grow and purchase medicinal herbs. If successful, it will be a great political achievement for him personally. Who doesn't want the team under his charge to live a good life? But the conditions of the brigade are like that, with more mountains and less flat land. My stomach is hungry all year round. Now the barren sloping land can be utilized to increase the income of the members. How could he not be excited? After the meeting, He signed a contract directly with Lin Wanshu on behalf of the commune. However, there is also a supplementary agreement in the contract, requiring members to collect herbs according to her requirements. We cannot simply run out of drugs, as this will be detrimental to the sustainable development of the pharmaceutical factory. Upon hearing this, the captains all patted their chests and made assurances. Comrade, rest assured, we will definitely manage our subordinates well and make them collect herbs according to your requirements. They would have noticed this even without Lin Wanshu telling them. After all, it would do them no good if the materials were all gone. After the meeting, the team leaders who had come to the commune with sad faces went back with happy faces. Soon, the news that the brigade was going to organize the planting of medicinal herbs to supply the troops spread throughout the village. Villagers heard the news. They rushed to tell each other. Have you heard? Our brigade is going to open up the sloping land to grow medicinal herbs for the troops to purchase. Yes, I heard that if we grow crops well, every household can make a lot of money every year. The villagers became excited when the topic of money was mentioned. Ask around to see if the news is true. That's money. If they could increase their income by a few dozen dollars every year, they would wake up laughing in their dreams. Soon, the team organized a meeting and announced the news of planting medicinal herbs. Hearing that it was true, everyone was excited. Some of the older ones burst into tears of joy. The country has not forgotten us. People still think of us when they have a job that pays them.
Yes.
I was ready to eat tree bark at the end of the year, but I didn't expect such a good thing to happen. A moment, everyone was filled with gratitude towards the country and the army. Of course, there were also people who knew more inside information, so they whispered, I already knew it a long time ago. The pharmaceutical factory is over at Dongtu Mountain. I heard it was run by a military wives organization. After hearing this, some people immediately became curious and asked which military wife it was. Soon, everyone figured out that it was Lin Wanshu who had participated in the rescue. And what she wants to produce is the medicine that can quickly stop bleeding and regenerate tissue during disaster relief. However, some people are skeptical and wonder how a woman like her could possibly accomplish such a big thing. Definitely the country and the army that are mainly helping them. But no matter what, they mean well. A moment, many people were grateful for Lin Wan's kindness. After all, people donated 800 yuan to them. Although the people in the team didn't say it, they all remembered her kindness in their hearts. After the meeting, everyone was in high spirits. The team leader arranged for them to stay alive, and some of them went to divert water to irrigate the rice fields. Another group of people went to cultivate the sloping land and prepare to plant medicinal herbs. Everyone became excited at the thought of making money from the sloping land. I only wish I could have 3 heads and 6 arms so I could clear the land overnight. On the other side, Fang Qiuyan and Lin Wanshu also returned to the family compound. She was worried about Lin Wanshu in the morning, so she accompanied her to the commune. After all, her belly is so big now, if anything happens on the way, she can be there to take care of her. When he came back, it was not yet 11 o'clock. Lu Jingsong usually came back at 12 o'clock. Fang Qiuyan didn't want to see him, so she quickly finished cooking, took some tofu pudding to eat, and then went out with a backpack and a machete on her back. She went up the mountain to collect herbs. I don't know what happened, but a lot of precious medicinal herbs suddenly grew on Dongtu Mountain. It can be said that it is everywhere in the mountains and plains. She looked at them yesterday, but didn't have time to pick them. Today she planned to pick some and bring them back to show Lin Wanshu. Fang Qiuyan grew up doing farm work. For her, climbing the mountain is not only effortless, but her keen sense of smell also allows her to smell dangerous wild animals from a distance. Therefore, relying on this talent, she can always avoid danger in advance. Going to Dongtu Mountain, Fang Qiuyan quickly collected a lot of medicinal herbs. She didn't pick many, just a small handful of each. After picking the fruits, I picked up some mushrooms on the way back. Fang Qiuyan knew that Lu Jingsong usually came back at 7 in the evening. She went back home at 5 o'clock, cooked and ate early, took a shower, and then brought the tofu pudding back to the house. Fang Qiuyan knew that this was very rude, but after having that dream, she wanted to stay away from him as much as possible. Returning to the room, Fang Qiuyan applied face cream and body lotion on herself, as usual. After wiping, he took out another smaller box and used it to wipe Dohua's face. This was also given to her by Lin Wanshu. It is specially used to moisturize children's skin. Although the children's version does not have whitening effect, my face no longer has cracks after using it on the tofu pudding. Fang Qiuyan habitually wiped her every morning and evening. Xiao Dohua touched his moist and fragrant little face and was very happy, rolling around on the bed. Fang Qiuyan waved at her. It's still early, Dohua. How about practicing calligraphy with Mom? Hearing this, Dohua immediately climbed out of bed.
Yes.
I want to write, I want to read, and I want to be like my mother in the future. Since my mother started reading, she has not only become more powerful, but also more beautiful. Dohua now firmly believes that only by studying can she live a good life in the future. She never wanted to live the hard life in her hometown again. It was almost 7 o'clock and the room was gradually getting dark. Fang Qiuyan turned on the light and started writing with her daughter. I don't know how long it had been before I heard familiar footsteps in the yard. Fang Qiuyan's hand holding the pen paused, and her ears subconsciously pricked up. The footsteps seemed to pause in the yard for a while, and then went back to the kitchen. Then came the sounds of fetching water for washing hands and dishes. Seeing that he was not looking for her, Fang Qiuyan breathed a sigh of relief. I ignored him and continued to write my words seriously. After writing for a while, Fang Qiuyan calmed down. Dohua quickly completed the task her mother assigned to her. But she was not sleepy today, so she picked up a children's picture book and started reading. The picture book was bought by Lin Wanshu. Dohua has read it several times and can recite it by heart. After looking at it for a while, she put it down. Seeing that she was bored and couldn't sleep, Fang Qiuyan put down her pen and took out a geography book. Mom will tell you something interesting. When Dohua saw the book in Fang Qiuyan's hand, his eyes lit up and he lay down obediently. Mom, I want to listen to the ancient city of Lulan. Why did the ancient city suddenly disappear? Where did the people inside go? Okay, Mom will tell you about the ancient city of Lulan. Fang Qiuyan was also full of curiosity about these mysterious places, and she had read the books in her hands several times. But she still didn't get tired of it. Dohua was lying on the bed, and she slowly began to tell her the story. Lu Jingsong had just finished taking a shower and was about to return to his room. Unexpectedly, when he passed by Fang Qiuyan's room, he heard her soft and soothing voice coming from inside. At first, Lu Jingsong thought she was talking to Dohua, but soon he found something wrong. Merchants and envoys from many countries stayed here, and the impact of various cultures made this place very prosperous. To hear that she was actually studying, she not even go to primary school? How could she understand all this? Until this moment, the impression Fang Qiuyan left on Lu Jingsong was still that of being thin and rustic. Just like other women in the village, she couldn't read a single word, and although she wasn't as timid as she was at the beginning, she was still somewhat cowardly. Such a person made Lu Jingsong unable to imagine her reading a book. Just thinking about it gives me a strange sense of disconnection. But the voice coming from inside forced him to believe it. She was really reading to Dohua. Staring at the tightly closed door in front of him, Lu Jingsong wanted to knock on it several times to see what was going on. But when he thought of the last accident, he endured it again. Finally, he forced himself to look away and walked back to his room. It's just that the sound insulation of the room is really not that good. Lying on the bed, her soft voice still reached his ears clearly. I don't know how long it took before the sound stopped. But Lu Jingsong couldn't fall asleep. There was only one thought that kept repeating in my mind. How could she be so capable of all this? The next room had no intention of getting up to go to the toilet after coaxing Dohua to sleep. I was afraid that I would accidentally bump into Lu Jingsong. Fortunately, she didn't feel like urinating, and since she didn't sleep well last night, Fang Qiuyan quickly fell into a deep sleep. Perhaps because of the medicine prescribed by Lin Wanshu, she slept soundly that night. When I woke up the next day, I felt refreshed. I calculated the time and listened carefully to the noise outside. Only after she was sure that Lu Jingsong had joined the army did she get up and leave. The yard was quiet and Lu Jingsong was not at home. Fang Qiuyan breathed a sigh of relief and quickly washed herself, wiped her face, and made breakfast. But before she could bring breakfast to the table, she heard Do Hua's surprised voice. "Mom, look." Fang Qiuyan turned her head and saw Do Hua walking towards her happily with a bag in his arms. The bag was open, revealing several pieces of brightly colored fabric inside. "These fabrics are so beautiful. Did you buy them?" Ever since Fang Qiuyan used cloth to make 2 sets of clothes for Do Hua last time, she now knows what this thing is used for. However, this fabric was not bought by Fang Qiuyan at all. Thinking of Lu Jingsong who came back last night, it was hard for her not to suspect that the fabric was bought by him. "Do Hua, put the fabric back first. It might have been bought by your father." Fang Qiuyan would not be so naive as to think that he would buy fabric for her and Do Hua. After all, she had been in the Lu family for so long, and the money and cloth coupons he sent back every year went to everyone in the family, except for her and her daughter. Maybe he bought this fabric and sent it back to his hometown. Besides, she can make money now, so she doesn't need this. Hearing this, Do Hua felt a little disappointed, but she was very obedient. When her mother asked her to put it back, she put it back obediently. Fang Qiuyan touched her little head and said, "We already have new clothes. When the weather gets colder, Mom will make you 2 more sets, okay?" Hearing that she could make new clothes in winter, Do Hua no longer missed the fabrics. "Well, Mom will make it for me when it gets cold." Seeing that she was obedient, Fang Qiuyan felt so soft-hearted that she cooked a poached egg for her. The mother and daughter had breakfast and went out, collecting herbs yesterday, and she did not go to look for Lin Wanshu. "Take those medicines over to show her today." Lin Wanshu has already applied for leave from the hospital. At first, the hospital was reluctant to approve it. After all, so many people came every day just to see Lin Wanshu. But when they learned that she was busy setting up a pharmaceutical factory to produce the ointment, the hospital immediately changed its mind and approved her leave. Lin Wanshu had already eaten breakfast and was now writing something in the room. "Wanshu, come and have a look. What did I pick up in Dongtu Mountain?" As soon as she entered the door, Fang Qiuyan took out the winnowing basket as if she was familiar with it and put the medicine in her backpack into the winnowing basket. Hearing this, Lin Wanshu put down her pen and walked over. When she saw what kind of herbs she had picked, she was a little surprised. "Qiuyan, how do you recognize these medicines?" It turned out that these medicines were exactly what Lin Wanshu asked Qin Yan to scatter on the mountain last year. She remembered that she hadn't taught her this yet, right? "I smelled these herbs from your place, so I picked them and brought them back."
Can you tell me if they are right?
Lin Wanshu recognized the medicinal seeds she had sown herself at a glance. "You picked the right ones. I saw these herbs on Dongtu Mountain before. I was planning to take those teams to pick them and plant them in a few days." Hearing this, Fang Qiuyan immediately volunteered. "Wanshu, leave this to me. You tell me what herbs to collect, and I'll take them there when the time comes." Her belly is so big. How could Fang Qiuyan let her go up the mountain without any hesitation? Lin Wanshu felt that it didn't matter to her, but under Fang Qiuyan's strong request, she finally agreed. However, the herbs Fang Qiuyan collected were not complete, so Lin Wanshu took out 4 more herbs from her own medicine cabinet and gave them to her. "There are also these types. If you see any, pick them up and show them to me." Hearing this, Fang Qiuyan nodded. "I'm free now, I'll go get it back for you later." The rice in the field had been planted not long ago, so there was not much weeds to remove. There was a river here in their army, so there was not as much water shortage as in the village. The rice fields have water and are not lacking in fertilizer, so there is no need to worry about them for now. In her spare time, she would either read or go up the mountain. "Okay, go ahead, but be careful." As she said that, Lin Wanshu handed her another bag. The bag contained the medicine she prepared, which not only prevented mosquitoes, but also drove away snakes. Ever since the military wives went up the mountain to collect herbs, she has sent them a bag of medicine every 1 or 2 weeks. The military wives all said that the effect was very good, and even mosquitoes wouldn't bite them when they went up the mountain. "Oh, I see." Fang Qiuyan happily took the bag and walked away carrying the basket on her back. Do Hua stayed with Lin Wanshu and played with Xiao Miao Miao. Xiao Miao Miao has recently become obsessed with the game of being a doctor. She sits in the pavilion and imitates Lin Wanshu, taking the children's pulses. The children also lined up seriously. When it was their turn, one said they had a headache and the other said they had a toothache. The most exaggerated one is pretending to have a broken leg. Xiao Miao Miao bandaged them properly. Shen Xiai didn't want to play this game. He thought it was too childish. But Xiao Miao Miao insisted on making him a patient, so he had no choice but to resign himself to his fate and lie on the bench, letting Xiao Miao Miao give him an injection and cover his forehead with a cloth to reduce the fever. For Shenyu to see Shen Xiai in such a miserable state, and he almost couldn't straighten his back from laughing. Xiao Jianxi still had a bandage hanging around his neck, pretending to be a patient with a broken arm. When he saw Shen Xi's expression of despair, he smiled with gloating glee. Miao Miao didn't stop until all the little friends in the yard had been beaten up by her. Lin Wanshu came out and saw the yard full of patients. She was at a loss whether to laugh or cry. Xiao Miao Miao saw her mother coming. She announced it proudly. "I can treat illnesses, too." Lin Wanshu burst out laughing immediately. "Hey, there's a new doctor in our family, so I'll call you Dr. Miao Miao from now on?" Hearing this, Xiao Miao Miao shook her head seriously. "During working hours, please call me Dr. Qin." Sun Shifeng was also amused by her little granddaughter. They also followed suit and called out Dr. Qin. Xiao Miao Miao was even more proud. She felt that she was as great as her mother. After a while, two little soldiers came in from the door. "Good morning, Auntie." Kong Bufan greeted Sun Shifeng cheerfully. Sun Shifeng quickly invited the two of them in, and while inviting them, she asked with concern, "Have you eaten? If not, come and have something to eat." As soon as she saw them, Sun Shifeng thought of her own son who had joined the army at a very young age, and naturally she felt more pity for them. The two little soldiers felt the care from their elders and were deeply touched. Kong Bufan said to Sun Shifeng with a grateful look on his face, "We have already eaten, so don't bother, Auntie. We are here to ask Sister Wanshu for some chicken." Lin Wanshu also came over, and upon hearing this, she smiled and said, "Finally, I've made you come. If you hadn't come, the chicken would have been snatched away by the sisters-in-law." She have hatched 3 broods of chicks from last year to this year. First nest was captured by Kong Bufan and his companions. Second nest was given to the military wives who got along better with each other. This is the 3rd nest, and it was booked by the army early on. "Sister-in-law, we also received the news and came here early in the morning. Where is the chicken now?" When Lin Wanshu's chicken breed was mentioned, Kong Bufan's eyes lit up surprisingly. They caught at the beginning of the year have now started laying eggs. What's more, half of the chickens can lay at least 2 eggs a day, and the other half, although not more than 2, still lay eggs every day. They had never seen a chicken that laid eggs so well in their lives. They were almost too excited. As soon as they heard that Lin Wanshu had hatched another brood of chicks, the logistics department placed an order early. Ever since the order was placed, the people in the logistics department have been anxious and wished they could get the liquid out to catch the chicks and raise them. I was afraid that if I was too late, I would be caught. Now hearing that the chickens could be caught, the two of them rushed over immediately. "I have locked the chickens in the cage, waiting for you." Lin Wanshu spoke. She led the little soldier to the corner where the chickens were placed. This nest of chicks has grown a lot after being raised for a while. In addition, her chickens are of good quality, and the chicks are all very healthy. Not a single chick has died in the entire brood so far. Kong Bufan looked at the chicks in the cage, each of them as energetic as last time, his eyes and heart filled with joy. If half of the clutch can lay 2 eggs a day and they can use them to hatch chicks and chickens lay eggs and eggs hatch chicks, wouldn't they be able to achieve egg freedom soon? Sister-in-law, you are really the lucky star of our army. When Kong Bufan thought about the fact that each of them would be able to eat eggs for every meal in the future, he felt like he would wake up laughing in his dreams. And all this is thanks to this sister-in-law. Hearing this, Lin Wanshu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Even if the chicks are good, they need to be raised well to lay so many eggs. You can make half of the chickens lay 2 eggs a day, which is also amazing. Being praised, Kong Bufan was so excited that his face turned red. But he said modestly, "No, no, my sister-in-law's seedlings are still the best." After the two of them praised each other for a while, Kong Bufan took the chicks from the chicken coop away. When Xiao Miao Miao saw the chick being caught again, she suddenly felt unhappy. "My chicken." With her short legs, she quickly chased after the two little soldiers, as if she was going to take back her chicken. Seeing this, Lin Wanshu quickly stopped her and said, "Meow Meow, didn't your little rabbit give birth to a baby? Why don't you take your friends to see it?" Hearing this, Xiao Miao Miao's attention was indeed diverted. Blinking, she turned to look at her friends. "I have a bunny, do you want to see it?" When the children heard that Xiao Miao Miao's rabbit had given birth to babies, they were all very excited. I want to see it. Meow Meow, can you give me a baby rabbit?" After a while, all the children came to the rabbit hutch built by Qin Yan. When I looked inside, I saw several little rabbits. No one can resist such a cute little cub, not even children. When everyone saw Xiao Miao Miao's rabbit, they were envious. "Isn't it too cute? Look at that little rabbit, its ears are so strange." The children were talking to each other, chattering about the little rabbit inside. Xiao Miao Miao was very happy when she heard them praising their rabbits. She was also a generous child. When she was happy, she waved her hand and agreed to give each of them a little rabbit. The children heard this. They cheered with joy. But the rabbit is still young and needs to feed, so they can't take it back now. We can only wait until the full moon before catching it. Although they couldn't catch the rabbit, the children who claimed it were unwilling to leave. One by one, they expressed their willingness to bring food for the rabbit. After Xiao Miao Miao gave the little rabbit away, she felt a little regretful. But she was a person who cared about her reputation, and it was difficult for her to go back on her word, so she just watched them feed the rabbits, with a somewhat depressed look on her face. The children were all focused on the little rabbit, and no one noticed Xiao Miao Miao's emotions, except Shen Xiai. Seeing that she was unhappy, he walked over to her and said, "Sister, I have a little parrot at home. Do you want to go and see it?" Heard that he had a little parrot, his eyes lit up and he became happy again. Just like that, while other children were still feeding the little rabbits, Shen Xiai took Xiao Miao Miao out. Fang Chuyan came back. It was already past 10 o'clock. Lu Jingsong usually goes home between 11:30 and 12 o'clock noon. She had to go back early to prepare the meal. Therefore, after giving the medicine to Lin Wanshu, she did not stay and went home. She had already cooked sweet potato porridge in the morning, so now all she had to do was stir-fry a vegetable. There were vegetables and tomatoes in the basket, so she simply fried some tomatoes and eggs, and then some vegetables. The mother and daughter had dinner. They ran to Lin Wanshu's house again. When Lu Jingsong came back at noon, he saw the yard was quiet and couldn't help frowning. "Is she that busy? I haven't seen her since I came back." I came to the kitchen in a bad mood and saw 2 covered dishes on the table. Half of the dish was eaten, and the rest was obviously left for him. And on the stool, the cloth that I had placed there last night was still lying there. Lu Jingsong frowned even more tightly. However, he did not plan to go out to find someone. Instead, he sat down to eat directly, intending to wait for her to come back in the evening and then tell her that the cloth was for her and Do Hua. Lu Jingsong had a good idea, but when he came back in the evening, the mother and daughter had already eaten, taken a bath, and went back to the house. Looking at the tightly closed door, Lu Jingsong would be a fool if he didn't understand that she was deliberately avoiding him. Pursing his lips, he finally didn't try to knock on her door, but put the bag of cloth at her door. Returning to the room and just lying down, I heard a woman's gentle voice from the next room again. But this time she told a mythological story. Do Hua obviously liked it very much. After listening to it, he asked many questions out of curiosity. Fang Chuyan did not show any impatience and answered the questions carefully one by one. Lu Jingsong was shocked as he listened to her explain the moral of the story in a few simple words. Why is it that after just a few months of not seeing her, she seems like a different person? This wasn't the first day he knew her. How could he not know that she really couldn't read a single word before? What is going on? Curiosity made Lu Jingsong prick up his ears and listen to her movements. Fang Qiuyan told 2 more stories. Dohua finally fell asleep. After putting down the storybook, she picked up her herbal notebook. The whole room was silent, with only the occasional sound of pages turning. But the sound was too small and could not be heard next door. Lu Jingsong listened for a long time, but didn't hear any sound. He felt inexplicably lost in his heart. The next day, Fang Qiuyan still got up after a long time after hearing Lu Jingsong go out. As soon as I opened the door, I saw the bag of cloth from yesterday placed at the door. Dohua also saw it and picked it up happily. Mom, did Dad give it to us? It was delivered to their room door, so it must be for them, right? Fang Qiuyan looked at Dohua happily, holding the cloth with a complicated look. After a pause, she said, "Well, this is a gift from Dad.
Keep it.
When Mom is free, she will make you new clothes." Her relationship with Lu Jingsong is not normal. He is Dohua's father after all. Since he is willing to care for the child, she has no reason to reject this fatherly love on behalf of Dohua. Dohua was very happy when she heard it and put the cloth back into the closet like a treasure. Although Fang Qiuyan asked Dohua to accept the cloth, she still had no intention of meeting Lu Jingsong. I still calculate the time every day to avoid him. The two lived under the same roof. They had never met each other. Even though they had never met, Fang Qiuyan's voice, which she had deliberately lowered at night, still reached Lu Jingsong's ears unimpeded. And he seemed to be used to it. After taking a shower every day, I would go back to lie on the bed, waiting to hear what she would tell Dohua that day. Fang Qiuyan talked about a wide range of topics. In addition to geography and mythology, she also talked about history and even read newspapers to Dohua. That deliberately lowered voice seemed so gentle and moving in the quiet night. She has a good voice, Lu Jingsong thought. But she didn't seem to want to see him. Lu Jingsong guessed that she might have been frightened by what happened during the Chinese New Year. Therefore, even though he knew she was avoiding him, he didn't try to block her. Just accept the rules she made. But deep down in my heart, I have an indescribable feeling. It felt like something was grabbing at it, or like there was cotton stuck inside. It made him sleep restlessly at night. A week later, the team leaders sent someone over to say that the sloping land had been reclaimed and they were waiting for Lin Wanshu's next instructions. Lin Wanshu asked Qin Yan to find a young soldier to accompany Fang Qiuyan and lead the members to the mountain to dig seedlings and bring them back to plant. Lin Wanshu has already planned the seedlings, with each team planting a few species. The final added value is basically the same. The team naturally had no objection to Lin Wanshu's arrangement. They just sent people to dig up the seedlings belonging to their own team. Assigned by Qin Yan to protect Fang Qiuyan also knew Lu Jingsong. He saw Captain Lu's wife. He couldn't help but mutter in his heart. Which jerk spread the rumor that someone's wife is ugly and rustic? Heko, are you the comrade Sha Guoqiang that Captain Qin mentioned? Going out, Fang Qiuyan asked him politely. Sha Guoqiang almost stared in amazement at the gentle voice and friendly smile. When he came to his senses, he smiled awkwardly. Yes, sister-in-law, I am Sha Guoqiang. You can just call me Xiao Sha. Fang Qiuyan nodded and said politely, "Thank you for your help." She was good-looking to begin with, and now she was well-educated. She spoke in such a polite manner that she was no different from the people in the city. Sha Guoqiang was full of doubts for a moment. What was Captain Lu thinking by leaving such a beautiful wife behind for several years? If it were him, he would wish to see people every day. But he didn't say any more and prepared to go to the assembly point with his men. But before he left the family compound, he ran into Lin Wanshu. "Wanshu, where are you going?" Seeing her, Fang Qiuyan subconsciously stepped forward to support her. Lin Wanshu clapped her hands with amusement. "How can I be so delicate? Don't be nervous." After that, he continued, "We will plant the herbs right after we dig them up. I'll go see how they turn out." Although they are all farmers who deal with the land, there are still some requirements for the planting of some medicines. Hearing this, Fang Qiuyan looked at her with some disapproval. "If there's anything you need to pay attention to, just tell me. Why is it worth the trip?" Sha Guoqiang originally thought that Fang Qiuyan was pretty enough, but he didn't expect that there would be an even prettier sister-in-law. He almost couldn't move his eyes. What kind of feng shui is this place? Why are all my sisters-in-law prettier than the other? But he didn't dare to look at it anymore, so he turned away with a blushing face and echoed, "Yes, sister-in-law, if there is anything, just tell me." Lin Wanshu smiled helplessly and said, "I have already told the captain and the others in advance, but I was afraid that they would not understand, so I made a special trip. Don't worry, I know my situation well." After hearing what she said, the two of them stopped trying to persuade her. But when I set out, I consciously slowed down my pace. We arrived at the assembly point. The captains had already been waiting for a while. Saw Lin Wanshu. His eyes lit up and he ran over quickly. "Comrade Lin, you are here too?"
He thought she wouldn't come this time.
Lin Wanshu smiled and said, "I'll go take a look while you guys are growing the herbs." The other captains also gathered around, and when they heard this, they were all filled with gratitude. "Comrade Lin, thank you so much. With your guidance, we feel more at ease. After all, this is the first time I've planted this thing. If something goes wrong or it doesn't meet the requirements, wouldn't all my work be in vain?" Because Lin Wanshu came here temporarily, Wu Jiang sent an ant to take her back to the slope of the brigade first. The others followed Feng Qiuyan and Sha Guoqiang to collect herbs. The ant recognized Lin Wanshu at a glance. Knowing that she had come to the rescue with the army, she was not shy and took her arm, asking about her well-being, as friendly as if she were an elder in the family. Lin Wanshu felt her enthusiasm and felt warm in her heart. Soon, the two arrived at the sloped land reclaimed by the Shangshan Brigade. The slope has been neatly dug into rows of trenches. The members are now spreading manure into the ditch. Perhaps because they knew that this land was to be cultivated to make money, the members worked very hard. Lin Wanshu took a look and estimated that all the men, women, and children in the village had come out. Even some whose bellies were bigger than hers, carrying manure and walking quickly along the ridges of the fields. Lin Wanshu couldn't help but worry for her when she saw it. She's about to give birth, right? Why is she carrying something so heavy? Unable to hold back, Lin Wanshu turned her head and asked the ant. Hearing this, the ant sighed heavily. She has to be picky. Her husband was buried in the last mudslide. Now, there is no strong labor force at home. If she doesn't work, what will happen to the two children at home? In my belly is a posthumous child. Although the family was not well off, at least there was still some hope in life. Now that her man is gone, she has no one to rely on. How can she go on with her life if she doesn't work harder? Hearing this, Lin Wanshu felt a little heavy. From the last mudslide were not actually that great, but even so, behind every number, it was a devastating disaster for every family. In the face of such pain, any comfort is pale and powerless. Although no one died in the ant's family, those who died were all people she knew. Whenever she thought about it, she felt very sad. Without saying anything more, she patted Lin Wanshu's hand and said, "Sister, go sit under the tree for a while. When we get the herbs back, you can teach us how to plant them." She also has to go up the mountain to dig herbs to earn work points. Hearing this, Lin Wanshu nodded. "Okay, I can go there by myself. Andy, you go and do your work." Everyone was working against the clock, and Lin Wanshu didn't intend to delay them, so she waved at her. The ant did not leave immediately, but found a little girl about 6 or 7 years old to accompany Lin Wanshu. "Sister, if you have anything to do, just ask her to do it. Annie has gone up the mountain first." Lin Wanshu smiled at her gratefully. "Okay, thank you, Auntie." After the ant made all the arrangements, she went straight back to Dongtu Mountain without stopping. The little girl she found was not tall and thin, but her eyes were bright, and she looked at her with curiosity. Lin Wanshu rarely saw such a bold country girl, and she was also somewhat curious about her. "Sister, what's your name?" The little girl was not afraid of strangers. Upon hearing this, she responded crisply, "My name is Xiao Gu." Afraid that she didn't know which Gu it was, I explained, "It's the Gu in rice. My mother said that if I was named this, I would be able to eat white rice every day when I grow up." Xiao Gu was obviously very satisfied with his name, and his little face was full of pride. From her graceful and generous appearance, you can tell at a glance that she must be doted on by her parents at home. Lin Wanshu also followed her words and said, "Yes, when you grow up, we can eat white rice every meal." Hybrid rice was successfully developed last year and is expected to be popularized soon. In the future, the lives of Chinese people will get better and better. Hearing this, Xiao Gu's face was full of longing. I really want to grow up quickly. When I grow up, I will earn a lot of work points for my mother so that she doesn't have to work so hard. Lin Wanshu liked children in the first place, and seeing how sensible she was, she couldn't help but feel a bit of affection for her. After thinking for a while, she took out a few candies from her pocket and handed them over. "Xiao Gu, thank you for chatting with me. I'll treat you to some candy." When Xiao Gu saw the candy in her hand, he blurted out, "It's milk candy." Lin Wanshu smiled and said, "It's milk candy, fragrant and sweet. Take it quickly." But when Xiao Gu saw Naitong, his expression suddenly became strange.
I
don't eat candy." Seeing that she was in a bad mood, Lin Wanshu put away the candy and asked carefully, "Xiao Gu, don't you like candy? Then how about I treat you to some fruit candy?" As soon as he finished speaking, Xiao Gu suddenly turned his back and kept wiping his tears with one hand. Lin Wanshu was shocked when she saw this. Just when I was about to ask her what was going on, the pregnant woman who was carrying manure came over. "Xiao Gu, what's wrong with you?" the pregnant woman asked with concern. Lin Wanshu stood up somewhat awkwardly. "Heko, sister-in-law, is this your child? I just chatted with her for a few minutes and felt that we had a good relationship. I wanted to treat her to a candy, but I don't know why she suddenly started crying. That she was afraid that she would think that she had bullied her child." But when she heard the word toffee, the pregnant woman's face suddenly changed. "We don't eat candy. Thank you for your kindness." After saying that, she took Xiao Gu away. Just now no longer said a word. He kept his head down along the way and kept wiping his tears with his hands. Sad and upset, Lin Wanshu looked at the backs of the mother and daughter as they left, feeling a little dazed. It seems like she meant well, but ended up doing something bad. In her hand, Lin Wanshu's expression became even more embarrassed. But she is not someone who likes internal friction. After thinking carefully about what she had just said, she realized there was nothing wrong with it, so she stopped thinking about it. Putting the candy back into the bag, she waited quietly under the tree for the herb diggers to come back. During this time, people who were drinking water recognized her one after another, and without exception, they greeted her enthusiastically. But they were obviously very busy. They greeted each other hurriedly, drank some water, and left one by one in a hurry. Lin Wanshu continued to wait bored, and soon, another person came under the tree. He was of medium build, with dark skin, and wearing a straw hat. "Comrade, I heard that you are here to teach us how to grow herbs?" Lin Wanshu heard the doubt in his voice, but she didn't get angry and nodded. "Yes, there's a kind of medicinal herb that has some special habits and requires special cultivation methods. I came to take a look." However, when Zhang Dongqiang heard this, he felt a little disapproving. "The woman in front of me looks very fair and clean. Even her hands are as white and slender as green onions. How can she look like someone who can work? Isn't he just like those people who go to the countryside to gain experience, giving blind orders and then leaving the mess for him to clean up? Comrade, farming is a science. You can't solve the problem by reading a few books. You have to combine it with reality. Just believing in books will be a disaster for farming." His voice was serious. Hearing this, Lin Wanshu agreed deeply. "Comrade, you are right. Farming is indeed a big deal, especially for these herbs. Although they are easy to grow, there are some tricks to make them work to their full potential." As she spoke, Lin Wanshu began to discuss the properties of herbs with him. Zhang Dongqiang. How come this is different from what he thought? And she feel guilty? Why is she still excited? But he inexplicably felt that what she said made sense. What was going on? Just like that, Zhang Dongqiang, who originally came to question Lin Wanshu, unknowingly became a student. As he listened, he nodded repeatedly, asked a few questions from time to time, and almost took out a pen to take notes. Lin Wanshu finally finished speaking. She suddenly realized something. How come this person has such strong professional knowledge? "Comrade, what do you usually do in the team?" Although the members go to the fields every day, not all the work assigned to them by the team leader is the same. Zhang Dongqiang, I am an agricultural technician in the Shangpa Brigade. Lin Wanshu. Well, not at all. If he hadn't told her, she would have thought he was just an ordinary member of the team. Initial doubts turned directly into admiration. Comrade, do you work at the Agricultural Research Institute? If that's the case, then it makes sense. He may be responsible for conducting experiments. Lin Wanshu. No, I used to be a farmer, and now I work in a hospital. I have dealt with these medicines a lot, and I am familiar with their behaviors. The main thing is that the space is filled with endless medicinal herbs, and she needs to take care of them frequently, so it is hard for her not to be familiar with them. Hearing about her complicated identity, Zhang Dongqiang was completely paralyzed. How did a farmer get involved with a doctor? But before he could ask carefully, the first group of people who were digging for herbs came back. Lin Wanshu did not delay and walked towards the slope, wearing a straw hat. Everyone now knows who she is. I heard that the pharmaceutical factory was organized and established by her. Because of this, the people present were warm yet respectful towards her. Everyone was very obedient when she asked them to guide them in growing herbs. It can be said that it can hit wherever you point. And Zhang Dongqiang has now figured out that although Lin Wanshu looks weak, she is actually very powerful. Therefore, he also followed and studied seriously. Lin Wanshu finished instructing the Shangpa Brigade. Agricultural technicians from other brigades also came. They come with people. They also brought herbs that their team wanted to grow. Right away, the technician came directly to the door, saving Lin Wanshu from having to run around one by one. Soon, she explained all the herbs with special requirements and demonstrated how to grow them in the field. It was also the first time for the technicians to learn how to grow herbs, and they all studied very seriously. It was not until the afternoon that Feng Qiuyan also arrived. The two of them, together with Xia Guoqiang and the other two, gathered together. They went straight back to the family compound. After a busy day, Feng Qiuyan felt sore in her back and waist and felt like she had no strength left in her body. Fortunately, it was still early. After returning home, Feng Qiuyan quickly cooked, took a shower, and took the tofu pudding back to the house. After a whole day of intensive work digging herbs, she was so tired that she didn't even want to move her fingers, let alone tell stories to Dohua. Dohua saw that her mother was tired and didn't dare to disturb her. The mother and daughter fell asleep early. Lu Jingsong came back a little late today. By the time he had dinner, took a shower, and returned to the house, it was almost 9 o'clock. His hair was still wet, and he had no intention of going to bed so early, so he picked up a book and started reading. I just read for a long time without turning to the next page. Rubbing his brows, he put down the book in his hand and lit a cigarette. Under the dim light, his distinct brow bones inexplicably looked a little more irritated, because he realized that he had been waiting for the sound of reading in the next room. The next day, Lu Jingsong went out even earlier. Feng Qiuyan didn't care and went early with Xia Guoqiang to lead the team members to the mountains to dig herbs. I came back home in the evening, ate, took a shower, and fell asleep. It was so quiet that it seemed as if she was not even in the house. For several days, Feng Qiuyan was so busy that she had no time to think about the man she lived under the same roof with. Lin Wanshu was not so busy. She couldn't let Feng Qiuyan do all the herb digging alone, so she went to the slope with her every day. The first day of guidance, the members strictly followed her requirements in planting. They were very efficient, and in just 3 or 4 days, they had planted several types of medicinal herbs on more than half of the slopes. However, the medicinal herbs were planted, but it still didn't rain. There were occasional dark clouds in the sky these past 2 days, but no rain was produced. When the members saw that it was not raining, they carried buckets and watered the herbs one by one. It's obviously hard work, but no one complains. Even the pregnant woman who was about to give birth carried water to water the herbs. Lin Wanshu couldn't help but worry for her when she saw it. Everyone else looked as if they were used to it, but occasionally someone would still whisper something. What do you think Lu Xiaoying was thinking? She has lost her husband, yet she still wants to carry this burden with her. Even the fourth leader of the team said that he doesn't mind her getting pregnant and wants to marry her, but she still doesn't want to and actually chased him away. That's right. It's already difficult for her as a woman to raise 2 children. Now she's going to give birth to another one. The old woman at home can't see and can't help at all. I don't know how she's going to live in the future. When talking about Lu Xiaoying, everyone was very sympathetic at first, but since she repeatedly rejected marriage proposals from others, this sympathy turned into incomprehension. Does a woman earn in a day? It's hard to even raise a child. She now not only has to support 2 children, but also her mother-in-law. There were so many mouths waiting to be fed, and they felt suffocated just thinking about it. And let her die of exhaustion before the child is grown up. Where there are people, there is gossip. Lin Wanshu stayed here for a few days and had a general understanding of the pregnant woman's condition. Unexpectedly, in addition to raising 2 children, she also had to support a blind mother-in-law. No wonder she is still working so hard even though she is about to give birth. However, she just listened to it and didn't care about it anymore. After all, there are more than 1 or 2 miserable people in this era, and it is impossible for her to take care of every one of them. Instead of doing this, it would be better to make the factory bigger and stronger, provide more jobs, and purchase more raw materials. Only when the conditions in the brigade are good can the members benefit. That afternoon, a lot of dark clouds gathered in the sky again. Seeing so many dark clouds, the members were very excited. Is it sure to rain this time? Although God has played tricks on us twice in a row, everyone is still eagerly looking forward to it. It will definitely rain. It has been dry here for too long. If it doesn't rain, the crops will collapse. Sure enough, after a while, the sky darkened and the wind blew violently. The members didn't even bother to find a place to shelter from the rain in advance. They all looked at the sky nervously, fearing that God was playing a joke on them again. Wu Jiang saw that something was wrong and quickly found Lin Wanshu. "Comrade Lin, it's going to rain soon. Come with me to the melon shed and take shelter for a while." He doesn't care about other people, but Lin Wanshu is the hope of their team, and he must take good care of her. Hearing this, Lin Wanshu did not try to be stubborn and followed him to the melon shed. When I entered, there were already more than a dozen people inside. Lu Xiaoying and Xiao Gu were also inside. Lin Wanshu happened to be standing next to Xiao Gu. When he saw her, Xiao Gu looked hesitant, as if he wanted to say something but didn't know how to start. However, Lin Wanshu was not in the mood to care about her. It looked like it was going to rain at any time outside, and Fang Qiuyan didn't know what would happen. "Comrade Lin, don't worry. There is a wooden house on the mountain. I have already told them to take Comrade Fang to the wooden house to take shelter from the rain if it rains." In the past, wild boars were rampant, so the team built a wooden house on the mountain specifically for hunting wild boars. Although it has been abandoned for a long time, it can still provide shelter from the rain. Hearing this, Lin Wanshu finally felt relieved. The wind grew stronger and stronger, and the sky became darker and darker. The people in the melon shed were not afraid at all. Instead, their faces were full of excitement. "It's going to go down, it's going to go down. Already so dark, if it doesn't rain soon, they will curse." Even Lin Wanshu couldn't help but clench her fists, secretly praying in her heart that it would rain. At this tense moment, suddenly, a man's cry of pain was heard beside him. Sudden movement caused everyone to turn their heads. The man in the corner who was holding his feet and breathing heavily, who else could he be but the village bachelor Huang Laosi? He was short, with messy hair and a mouthful of yellow teeth. I didn't know if he had ever brushed them. As he inhaled, the plaque and tartar were clearly exposed. It makes people frown when they see it. "Old Four, what did you do?" someone asked. It seemed like concern, but that excited and gossipy gaze moved back and forth between him and Lu Xiaoying several times. Huang Laosi cursed in pain, but he had to force an awkward smile.
"No.
It's okay. I just got stepped on accidentally." Hearing this, everyone's eyes became ambiguous. "Oh, is it Xiaoying who stepped on you? When did you two become so familiar with each other? Did I miss something good?" Hearing this, the fourth brother did not deny it, but chuckled, which made people imagine more. But at this moment, Lu Xiaoying's cold voice was heard in the melon shed. "I've said it many times. I have nothing to do with Huang Laozi. If anyone spreads rumors again, I'll go to his door and throw shit on him. As soon as these words were spoken, the person who was joking just now suddenly looked a little embarrassed. When he was rejected in person. I don't mind that you have a few burdens, but you still picked up Qiao?
Bah.
Apart from me, I don't believe that anyone else would dare to marry you. When the people in the melon shed heard this, they all agreed. That's right. With her conditions, it's good enough for her to find someone like Laozi. How dare she be so picky? Xiuying, I'm not saying anything to you, but how can you feed so many mouths by yourself? If the fourth brother doesn't mind, just marry him. A moment, the entire melon shed was filled with voices of persuasion. Lin Wanshu glanced at the pretty Lu Xiuying, then at the unsightly Huang Laozi, and suddenly felt an indescribable feeling of suffocation. What happened to the widow? People are working honestly to earn work points, so is this a hindrance to them? Are they willing to push someone into a sloppy man who can't even get married? Originally, Lin Wanshu had no intention of intervening in Lu Xiuying's affairs, but at this moment, she couldn't stand it anymore. But before she could open her mouth, she heard Lu Xiuying smile coldly. You mean by not disliking me? You want me to give away the baby in my belly? And you want me to abandon my mother-in-law and 2 children to take care of a lazy guy with nothing at home? After hearing this, the crowd who were still trying to persuade them suddenly fell silent. Everyone's face turned red. That's not the way to say it. A man will become more diligent after getting married. When the time comes, you can ask him to help your mother-in-law and 2 children. Wouldn't it be better than the hard work you have now? After coming to their senses, everyone began to persuade them earnestly. That's right. What man is not like this before marriage? After marrying a wife, he can tidy up his home and become clean. Hearing this, Lu Xiuying felt even more ironic. TSK. A pregnant woman, can earn 8 work points a day, and he, a man with healthy hands and feet, can earn 6 work points a day. You want me to marry him and take care of his household? Am I crazy, or are you crazy? Once again left everyone speechless. Lu Xiuying did not give them time to react. She stared at everyone coldly and continued, My husband was washed away by a mudslide in order to save Xiaogu and me, and you want me to abandon my mother-in-law and children and marry someone else? I'm sorry, I can't do such a heartless thing. Even if I die of exhaustion in this life, I want to die in the Chen family. If anyone says those nonsense words again in the future, I will go to his house and drink pesticide. That resolute look shocked everyone on the spot. All people knew was that Chen Lingguang was washed away by the mudslide. But no one knows exactly how it was washed away. Now they heard that he died trying to save his wife and daughter, and they were extremely shocked. Suddenly, the whole melon shed was silent, and no one dared to speak out to persuade them anymore. How to persuade? The man died to save her and her daughter. Put yourself in their shoes. If they were in their shoes, how could they do such a heartless thing as abandoning someone else's old mother? A moment, the people who had just persuaded her to remarry felt a burning sensation on their faces and were ashamed.
I'm sorry, Xiuying.
I will never say such things again. One auntie had red eyes, and her voice was full of annoyance. Xiuying, if you want to stay at the Chen family, then stay. If you need any help in the future, just call me aunt. Couple are both affectionate and righteous, and they are not heartless. So how could they not be moved? Lu Xiuying said nothing. The word, forgiveness, but she can't get over it in her heart. When the mudslide occurred, Lingguang was clearly in a safe area. But he still rushed back resolutely to save his Xiaogu. Lu Xiuying will never forget the scene in which he used his last bit of strength to throw her and the child onto the shore, while he himself was swallowed up by the mudslide. That stupid man. He even lost his life for her. How could she bear to let him lose the bet? Lu Xiuying didn't say anything, and the melon shed fell into a strange silence again. I don't know if it was to cover up the embarrassment. Someone laughed and said, It's been so long. Why hasn't it rained yet? When talking about the rain, everyone immediately stopped caring about Lu Xiuying. Many of them immediately ran out of the melon shed. But what I saw was that the dark clouds that had just covered the sky were slowly dispersing. The dark clouds have been blown away again. Someone shouted, and everyone in the melon shed rushed out. I saw that the sky, which was covered with dark clouds just now, was gradually clearing up. Someone immediately started cursing. You thief god, do you think it's fun to play tricks on us? Believe it or not, I will use a cannon to blow you up. The others also looked very ugly. It's been 3 days in a row, and every time the noise is so loud, but it turns out it's all a lie. A noisy scene outside, but in the melon shed, Lu Xiaoying was in a very low mood. With his empty eyes, he stared blankly at the distant sky, and no one knew what he was thinking. Xiaogu tightly held his mother's hand, his little face full of panic and fear. Mom, don't leave Xiaogu behind. Xiaogu is scared. Her father is gone, and she only has her mother, grandmother, and sister. Grandma can't see anymore, and my sister is still so young. Hearing this, Lu Xiaoying seemed to finally come to his senses. The corners of her lips twitched, and she raised her hand to touch Xiaogu's head. Silly boy, why would your mother abandon you? If she had to beg for food, she would still raise them. This is the blood he left for her. Hearing this, Xiaogu felt relieved. But that little hand always held its mother's hand tightly. It was as if he was afraid that if he let go, she would disappear. Lu Xiaoying felt a pang of bitterness in her heart. Just when he was about to comfort his eldest daughter again, he heard a concerned voice coming from the side. Mother Xiaogu, I heard that your mother-in-law is blind. Do you need me to take care of you? Hearing this, Lu Xiaoying raised her head. Following the sound, I saw the female comrade who was going to give Xiaogu milk candy that day. Is it you? Comrade, I'm sorry for losing my composure that day. People mean well, but you have that attitude. In fact, after saying that, Lu Xiaoying felt extremely upset. She wanted to apologize to her several times, but she didn't know how to start. Now that she finally had the chance to talk to her, Lu Xiaoying expressed the apology that had been in her heart for many days. Lin Wanshu shook her head and said, I was a little abrupt. I should be the one to apologize. Considering that her husband died trying to save them, Lin Wanshu could easily guess that this candy must have some special meaning to the mother and daughter. Lu Xiaoying felt even more guilty. No, it's my fault. I'm sorry. Seeing that the apology would never end, Lin Wanshu quickly changed the subject. Hearing her asking about her mother-in-law's eyes again, Lu Xiaoying's expression became a little gloomy. Thank you for your concern, comrade. My mother-in-law suddenly lost her sight after being injured in a mudslide. I took her to the county hospital for treatment. The doctor prescribed some medicine, but she still couldn't get better. After so long, Lu Xiaoying has become desperate. Hearing this, Lin Wanshu did not back down. If it had happened before, she might not have gotten involved in Lu Xiaoying's family affairs. But after learning about her experience, Lin Wanshu couldn't help but want to help her. To be honest, I'm working at Wen City Military Hospital now, and I have some experience in treating illnesses. If you need help, I can help you take a look. Hearing this, Lu Xiaoying's eyes felt a little hot. After the man left, she had become accustomed to the fickleness of human nature, and no one had ever wanted to help her as sincerely as she did.
Well,
Then I'll trouble you, comrade. Lu Xiaoying couldn't refuse such help. What if she really has a solution? If my mother-in-law's eyes could be cured, she wouldn't have to work so hard. At least there's someone to look after the child. The two of them finished talking. They set off to return to the team. As soon as we walked out of the melon shed, Fang Qiuyan and Sha Guoqiang also came down the mountain. When they heard that Lin Wanshu was going to the brigade to treat patients, they decided to accompany her without saying a word. The group soon arrived at Lu Xiaoying's home. Shampa Brigade were all built by the army later as resettlement housing for disaster victims. The houses are lined up in rows. Originally, every household had the same structure, with a main room and a room on each side. Later, the villagers added rooms, kitchens, toilets, and other facilities on the original basis. The land here is spacious enough, and even if we add more rooms, there seems to be enough space. Among all the renovated houses, Lu Xiaoying's home looks a little different. In addition to the 3 rooms originally built by the army, a kitchen, toilet, and shower room were simply built with wooden boards in the corner. The shower room and toilet are covered with two thick layers of bamboo strips. Even if you peel off the outer layer, there is still a layer of wood and a layer of bamboo strips inside. There is no risk of being spied on. Several additional wooden houses are covered with thatch. Although they don't look strong enough, they can at least provide shelter from the wind and rain. The whole yard was clean, without even a fallen leaf. Lin Wanshu took a quick look at her and couldn't help but feel a little more respect for Lu Xiaoying. Even though she is so busy and works so hard, she still keeps the house in order. Perhaps she heard the noise outside as a little girl of 3 or 4 years old suddenly ran out from the room on the right side of the main hall. "Mom, are you back? I'll get you some water to wash your hands." He is obviously a 3 or 4-year-old child, but he looks very mature. Felt very pleased when she looked at her well-behaved and sensible daughter. "Don't worry, Mimi. I'll bring a doctor to check Grandma's eyes." Hearing this, Mimi looked at Lin Wanshu and the others curiously. When she saw Lin Wanshu's equally bulging belly, she blinked and said, "Aunt, do you have a little brother in your belly too?" Hearing the child's childish talk, Lin Wanshu found it a little funny and teased her. "How do you know it's a brother and not a sister?" Mimi put her hands on her hips proudly. "I just know that my mother also has a little brother in her belly." Lu Xiaoying has become accustomed to her daughter's frequent shocking remarks. Fortunately, she didn't tell her that she was pregnant with a little girl, otherwise she would have spanked her little butt. "Xiaogu, take Mimi out to play?" Not intending to let her little girl cause trouble, Lu Xiaoying asked Xiaogu to take her sister away. Xiaogu was also very obedient. She didn't give her sister a chance to resist. She just pulled her sister away. After the girls left, Lu Xiaoying invited Lin Wanshu to go into the room on the left. As soon as I opened the door, I heard a hoarse voice coming from inside. "Xiaoying, are you back?" Through the dim light, Lin Wanshu saw a thin figure sitting on the east bed. Lu Xiaoying walked up quickly, took her hand and said, "Mom, it's me. I'm back, and I brought you a doctor. She said she wanted to check your eyes." Hearing this, when Xianghan looked around without any anxiety. "Where?" Lin Wanshu and Fang Qiuyan also walked into the house, and Xia Guqiang was waiting outside. The whole house smelled like urine. It is estimated that Lu Xiaoying placed the bucket in the house specifically for her mother-in-law to urinate in. "I'm here, Aunt." Lin Wanshu walked to the bedside and responded. The person on the bed looked to be in his early 60s. He seemed to be of a calm temperament, without any sharpness caused by sudden change. Some of his graying hair was neatly combed, and his shirt was buttoned tightly. If you don't look carefully, there is no difference between him and a normal person. Heard that it was a young girl, he was stunned. But she didn't say anything, just smiled politely. "Thank you, doctor." That polite look was somewhat beyond Lin Wanshu's expectations. This old lady is not like an ordinary rural auntie. Instead, she has an indescribable charm. But she didn't say anything. Instead, she took her pulse. His hand touched her wrist. Lin Wanshu quickly felt that the meridians in her brain seemed to be blocked, and the blood flow was not smooth. Thinking of this, she asked, "Aunt, did you get hit on the head by something?" Hearing this, Wen Xianghan was a little surprised, but she still nodded. "That day, after I escaped with Mimi, a stone flew from nowhere and hit me hard on the head. When I woke up, I couldn't see the road. Could this be related to my blindness?" Lin Wanshu was about to nod, but suddenly remembered that she couldn't see, so she said softly, "You have blood clots on your head." The human brain is a very complex organ containing countless nerves. If a nerve is damaged, it will affect the functioning of the corresponding organ. The mother-in-law nor the daughter-in-law understood what was crazy or not, but when they heard Lin Wanshu's professional and calm voice, a strong hope suddenly arose in their hearts. "Comrade, do you have a way to cure my mother-in-law's eyes?" Lu Xiaoying stared at Lin Wanshu, her voice changing in tone with excitement. Although when Xianghan couldn't see, his hands subconsciously clenched into fists, his face full of tension and anxiety. Lin Wanshu didn't keep the secret and said directly, "If the blood clots are dissolved, there is a 70% chance that you can see the light again." Hearing this, when Xianghan's eyes turned red on the spot. She grabbed Lin Wanshu as if she had grabbed a life-saving straw. "Doctor, please help me." No one knew how much pain she was going through these days. "My son is gone, my daughter-in-law's belly is getting bigger and bigger, and I still have to take care of her and my 2 granddaughters." When Xianghan thought about committing suicide and also tried fasting. But Lu Xiaoying lay in front of her bed and begged bitterly. When Xianghan will never forget her desperate and painful cry. "Mom, if you just leave like this, how can I face Lin Guang in the future? The children have already lost their father. Can you bear to let them lose their grandmother too?" Since then, when Xianghan never thought about dying again. But living is so difficult. She couldn't see anything, and not only could she not help her daughter-in-law, she was also so tired that she had to take care of herself with her big belly. How could she not be excited when she heard that there was a 70% chance that her eyes could be cured? "Don't worry, Auntie.
I will do my best."
Lin Wanshu goes out now. She always carries some medicine and needles with her. When she wanted to do acupuncture, Fang Qiuyan volunteered to help her. Lu Xiaoying watched nervously from the side. Although she couldn't understand it, Lin Wanshu's calmness and composure made her feel relieved. Lu Xiaoying had a strong intuition that her mother-in-law would definitely be able to cure her eyes this time. Lin Wanshu finished acupuncture for Wen Xianghan. She said to Lu Xiaoying, "After we go back, I will have someone send you medicine. You cook it for her on time. I will come to treat her tomorrow." It's already afternoon, and it's time for them to go back. Hearing this, Lu Xiaoying nodded repeatedly, her face full of gratitude. After seeing the doctor, the 3 of them did not stay long and went straight back to the army. Sha Guoqiang safely sent the 2 military wives back to the family quarters. He returned to the barracks to report. This would be a break time. Sha Guoqiang was just about to go look for his comrades when someone patted him on the shoulder. "Hey, Guoqiang, why are you back so early?" It was his lower bunkmate Ma Cheng. His clothes were covered in mud, and it was obvious that he had just returned from training. "Just now, we saw that it was going to rain, so we went down the mountain early." Even though Sha Guoqiang's main job these days was to be responsible for Fang Qiuyan's safety, he also helped to dig herbs, so he was also covered in dirt. The 2 chatted for a few minutes and then went to take a shower together. Although time was tight, Ma Cheng still couldn't help but gossip out of curiosity on the way. "Hey, Sha Guoqiang, is Captain Lu's wife really as pretty as you said?" Looking at his doubtful expression, Sha Guoqiang was speechless. "Of course it's true. Why would I lie to you? I see it every day. How could I not know if it's good-looking or not?" But after hearing this, Ma Cheng was still skeptical. "It's not that I don't trust you, but if Captain Lu's wife is really that pretty, why would he stay in the barracks even on his days off? Not to mention a beautiful wife. Even if she is just an average-looking one, who wouldn't want to spend time with his wife on a rare day off?" Thinking about what the soldier who went to pick her up on the first day said, Ma Cheng was more willing to believe that she was indeed dark and earthy, and that was why Captain Lu had not been home for so many years. "You're not saying this because you haven't seen a girl for a long time, are you? It is said that after 3 years of military service, a So becomes as beautiful as Diao Chan." The more Ma Cheng thought about it, the more he felt that this must be the case.
Duck.
"Do you think I'm just like you, with that little potential? Whether I'm pretty or not, you'll know when you get a chance to see me in the future, right? However, it is not so easy to meet people unless there are activities in the army during the Mid-Autumn Festival or the New Year." The 2 were talking in whispers, and neither noticed the 2 figures standing at the corner. Only when the discussions could no longer be heard did Du Wangxian pat Lu Jingsong on the shoulder. "Old Lu, your wife has been with the army for so long. When can you invite us to have a warm house meal so we can get to know each other?" Du Wangxian went on a mission with Lu Jingsong. After he came back, Fang Qiuyan deliberately avoided their schedules. It can be said that Du Wangxian has never seen Fang Qiuyan until now, and has no idea whether she is round or flat. Lu Jingsong didn't say anything, a cigarette still between his fingers. His 2 slightly sharp eyebrows were slightly twisted, and his usually calm eyes were filled with a lingering gloom. "I don't know either. His relationship with Fang Qiuyan is a mess." At first, Lu Jingsong wanted to bring her to the army, away from his mother, so that she could live a good life. I just don't know when everything started to change. It was obvious that she had been tactful enough to stay away from me and never bothered me. But Lu Jingsong became more and more annoyed. He thought that by keeping himself busy, he could distract himself. But it's of no use. Every time he returned to the room, he would subconsciously prick up his ears to listen to the noise next door. When he realized what he was doing, Lu Jingsong was shocked and embarrassed. Not knowing how to deal with this situation, he could only come to the military camp early every day and return home very late. Until now, Lu Jingsong still doesn't know how to deal with their relationship. Du Wangxian is the instructor and Lu Jingsong's partner, so he naturally knows everything about him and Fang Qiuyan. But now that you have married her and have a child, you have to live your life no matter how unhappy you are. Thinking of this, he advised, it has been a few years. You should let go of the past. Even if she was wrong, for the sake of your niece, you should stop caring about it. Living a good life is better than anything else. He was clearly going back to marry his fiancée, but his sister intercepted him at the last minute. Who wouldn't be annoyed? In the past, Fang Qiuyan had always been in her hometown. Du Wangxian knew that Lu Jingsong was feeling miserable, so he didn't try to persuade her much. But now that she has brought her child to join the army, he can no longer allow the two of them to remain in this stalemate. Hearing this, Lu Jingsong frowned even more tightly. Now it's not a question of whether he cares or not, but that she doesn't seem to want to see him either. Looking straight into the distance, Lu Jingsong did not speak for a long time, until he felt the hot temperature of the cigarette on his fingertips that he came to his senses. He threw down the cigarette in his hand and crushed it with his foot before responding. After saying that, he left.
Du Wangxian.
Mean? Is he agreeing to live a good life with Fang Qiuyan? But why did he feel so uneasy? Fang Qiuyan came back early today. She had already gotten used to not seeing Lu Jingsong in the staff quarters, and she was living like a fish in water. Today, and laid 2 eggs. When I came back, I also bought a fish from a fellow villager. Fang Qiuyan did not steam eggs and fry fish as usual, but instead fried a tomato with eggs and then boiled fish according to Lin Wanxi's method. Boiled fish was a bit spicy, and I didn't dare eat tofu pudding, so I just ate scrambled eggs with tomatoes. Fang Qiuyan couldn't eat spicy food either, but the boiled fish tasted really good. She ate so much that tears and snot were streaming down her face, but she still couldn't bear to put down her chopsticks. In the end, even my mouth was swollen. Seeing that half of the dish was left in the bowl, Fang Qiuyan put down her chopsticks reluctantly. Looking at the time, it was still early. Lu Jingsong would not be back so soon. She and Dohua slowly washed their hair and took a shower. We came out. The sky was already a little gray. After Fang Qiuyan made new clothes, she started wearing the old ones to sleep at night. Old clothes are all loose-fitting and comfortable to sleep in. Putting the clothes into the bucket, Fang Qiuyan walked towards her room while drying her hair. But before I reached the door, I suddenly heard a familiar sound of footsteps outside. Fang Qiuyan's whole body froze. Why did he come back so soon? Ever since Lu Jingsong went out on a mission, Fang Qiuyan has never had a serious meeting with him. At first, she avoided him because of that unspeakable dream, but later it became an unspoken rule between them. I didn't expect that he would break the rules and come back early. Fang Qiuyan was shocked. Before her brain could react, her legs seemed to have self-awareness, and she ran straight back to the room with a whoosh. The SP-ped was so fast that it seemed as if there was a ghost chasing him. Lu Jingsong only had time to see her back before the door slammed shut. Lu Jingsong. Looking at the tightly locked door, Lu Jingsong's expression looked a little ugly. Although he had guessed that she was avoiding him, he still felt sad after confirming it. Staring at the tightly closed door for a long time, Lu Jingsong withdrew his gaze and turned into the kitchen. As soon as I entered, I smelled a fragrant and spicy smell. Lu Jingsong paused, then turned and walked towards the dining table. After opening the cover, I saw a bowl of fish dotted with red peppers on the table. Lu Jingsong likes spicy food and fish. However, people in his hometown don't eat spicy food, and he has never tasted fish cooked with chili peppers. Looking at the dishes on the table at this moment, his tense facial lines softened a little unconsciously.
She
Doesn't completely ignore herself, right? After washing his hands and the dishes, Lu Jingsong made a bowl of sweet potato porridge and started eating. Pick up a piece of snow-white fish and put it in your mouth. The spicy and fresh taste instantly fills your entire mouth. The tender and smooth fish meat and the delicious taste are so delicious that you want to swallow your tongue as well. Lu Jingsong knew that she had good cooking skills, but he didn't expect that the chili fish she made would be so delicious. He had eaten up the remaining half basin of fish and the soup. After eating the fish, Lu Jingsong ate up the remaining scrambled eggs with tomatoes and sweet potato porridge. Even when the bowls and pots were empty, he still felt unsatisfied. The dishes and pots, Lu Jingsong made up his mind to have a talk with Fang Qiuyan. Du Wangxian is right, let the past be the past. He should look forward. But when he walked to Fang Qiuyan's door, he heard two even breathing sounds, one long and one short, coming from inside. Lu Jingsong. Going to bed so early? Her hair dry? Resisting the urge to knock on the door, Lu Jingsong listened quietly for a while. After making sure that they were really asleep, he turned around and went back to his room reluctantly. The next day, Lu Jingsong did not go to the military camp early as usual. Washing up, he put rice in the pot and cooked some porridge. There were also vegetables in the basket that Fang Qiuyan picked yesterday. He put it directly into the basin, washed it, and then fried it. Lu Jingsong had never cooked a meal in his hometown, and he had never cooked since he joined the army. But even if you haven't eaten meat, you have seen pigs walk. He added oil and salt and stir-fried the vegetables according to his memory of how Fang Qiuyan cooked. Lu Jingsong felt that he had a good memory and cooking should be no problem. But whether the eyes can do it is one thing, and whether the hands can do it is another. After a fierce stir-fry, Lu Jingsong was about to get a basin to put the vegetables in, but he found that the leaves had turned yellow and were unsightly. Lu Jingsong. It's a little yellow, but it should still be edible.
right?
Yellow vegetables he had cooked to the table. Looking at the time, it was already a little late, but Fang Qiuyan and Do Hua still showed no signs of getting up. In the end, he had no choice but to go to the military camp first and come back early in the afternoon. As soon as Lu Jingsong left, Fang Qiuyan got up. Looking at the porridge and dishes on the table, her eyes were full of horror. What happened to Lu Jingsong? The thought that she might see him at home at any time in the future. She knew that her mentality was wrong. But Fang Qiuyan couldn't convince herself to ignore the past and live with him like an ordinary couple as if nothing had happened. In the end, Fang Qiuyan didn't eat breakfast and went out with the red bean cake given by Lin Wanshu in her pocket. Do Hua has become accustomed to her going out to dig herbs every day. Now he can wash the dishes and eat by himself without her having to worry about him. Fang Qiuyan arrived. Xia Guoqiang and Lin Wanshu had been waiting for a while. Seeing that she looked unhappy, Lin Wanshu felt a little strange. Qiuyan, what's wrong with you? Didn't you get enough rest? Hearing her concerned voice, Fang Qiuyan almost couldn't help but tear up. At this moment, she really wanted to find someone to talk to. But there was a man here, so she could only endure it. It's okay, don't worry. Lin Wanshu. Does this look like everything is all right? But she refused to say, and Lin Wanshu didn't want to ask now, so she planned to talk to her after returning. After arriving at the place, the three of them separated again. Fang Qiuyan still led the members to dig herbs, while Lin Wanshu went to treat Lu Xiuying's mother-in-law's eyes. Several brigades has been almost planted, and it is estimated that the work will be completed after today. In fact, the members were able to dig herbs on their own a few days ago. But after all, they are not as professional as Fang Qiuyan, nor do they have such a keen sense of smell as her. Without her leading the team, the efficiency of digging for herbs was very slow. Fang Qiuyan decided to take them to find all the herbs in this area and plant them on the slope first. The rest will be left for them to dig out slowly later. Although Fang Qiuyan looks petite, she is an expert at digging herbs. Even the strong men in the team are no match for her. But she didn't have breakfast today, and when she started digging around 10 o'clock, her stomach was growling with hunger. I touched my pocket and the red bean cake was still there. But when she was about to find a place to eat, she smelled a faint smell of mud in the air. It's going to rain, Feng Qiuyan said to everyone. Hearing this, the members subconsciously looked up at the sky. When he found that there were no clouds in the sky, he curled his lips and said, "Come on, there were so many dark clouds yesterday, but it didn't rain. How could it rain now?" That's right. I'd rather believe that the sun will rise from the west tomorrow than believe that it will rain. Seeing that they didn't believe her, Feng Qiuyan had no choice but to find Sha Guoqiang. "Comrade Xiaosha, we have to get down the mountain quickly. It's going to rain." Sha Guoqiang also didn't believe it would rain, so he comforted her. "Don't worry, sister-in-law. Even if it rains, I can take you to a wooden house to shelter from the rain." But just a moment after he finished speaking, the sky suddenly changed color. Originally had only a thin layer of clouds, was suddenly filled with dark clouds. "Sha Guoqiang, is it really going to rain?" He couldn't help but mutter. But other members still didn't believe it would rain. This is the fourth time. The members were even indifferent to the dark clouds overhead. This thing might be blown away by the wind soon. Perhaps because they had experienced too many disappointments, the members no longer cared about the dark clouds in the sky. Instead, he continued to dig herbs diligently. When they thought that they would be able to plant herbs all over the slope after digging today, Feng Qiuyan could smell the smell of mud getting stronger and stronger and could no longer sit still. "Hurry up and get down the mountain. It's going to rain heavily." Having said that, she didn't wait for anyone else and walked down the mountain carrying the backpack. This, Sha Guoqiang could only hurry up and catch up. The others looked at each other. Although they still didn't quite believe it would rain, they were certain that Feng Qiuyan had run away, so they could only follow her. Otherwise, with their efficiency, it would probably take until tomorrow to finish planting the slope. All of a sudden, all the members who were digging herbs ran down the mountain with their baskets on their backs. As soon as I ran down the mountain, I heard a loud boom. Feng Qiuyan looked in the direction of the sound and saw a familiar figure leading several soldiers to shoot artillery sheks into the sky. "It's Captain Liu." Sha Guoqiang was a little surprised. He waved to Liu Jingsong. "Captain, my sister-in-law is here." Feng Qiuyan didn't expect him to shout like that, and she froze on the spot. But at this moment, another shek was fired from the rocket launcher with a bang. The sound of the artillery sheks was so loud that it drowned out Sha Guoqiang's voice. Liu Jingsong didn't hear his shout at all. He just seriously directed the soldiers to fire artillery sheks into the sky. Where had the members ever seen such a scene? Suddenly, everyone gathered around curiously from a distance. "Our military comrades are really awesome. They really use cannons to fight against the thief god." The villagers had no idea what artificial rainfall was, so they couldn't help but applaud as they watched them fire cannons into the sky. It was a scene that if you didn't know much about it, you would think you were watching a movie about fighting the Japanese. The scene was really hilarious. A few artillery sheks were fired. Raindrops as big as beans fell from the sky. 1 drop, 2 drops. Countless drops. The members looked at the raindrops hitting the ground and were shocked and unbelievable at first. When they realized it was really raining, they all shouted excitedly, "It's raining! It's really raining this time." After a while, the rain formed into lines and poured down on everyone's heads. But no one cared. Everyone was jumping for joy. He cheered even louder. "It's raining! It's raining! Our crops are saved! They no longer have to carry water to water the herbs one by one." At this moment, Sha Guoqiang also ran to Liu Jingsong's side. "Captain, your wife is here." Hearing this, Liu Jingsong turned his head quickly. "Where?" Sha Guoqiang gestured behind him. "She is." Before he could finish his words, Sha Guoqiang suddenly saw that the person standing behind him was a middle-aged woman in her 40s or 50s. How could she be Feng Qiuyan? Liu Jingsong remembered this little soldier. It was he who said yesterday that he saw Feng Qiuyan every day. "Now you can."
Where is she?
Liu Jingsong grabbed Sha Guoqiang's arm. Sha Guoqiang felt a pain from being pinched, but he still endured it.
She
should be going to the melon shed to avoid the rain. Do you want me to take you there? Hearing this, Lu Jingsong finally let go of his arm and said, "Take me there." After saying that, he turned around and gave orders to several soldiers, asking them to drive the cannon back to the troops first.
Yes, Captain.
The three of them saluted him and went to drive. After a few soldiers left, Sha Guoqiang took Lu Jingsong towards the melon shed in the heavy rain. On the other side, Fang Qiuyan was just running with the members of the brigade. But the rain was too heavy, and she could hardly see the figures even at a distance of several steps. In addition, the wind was still howling, and soon she lost track of the crowd. Was stunned when she saw the vast expanse of white. She was not familiar with several of the teams and had no idea which direction to go. In the end, she had no choice but to keep moving forward. But there was still no one in front of her, and she couldn't find anyone to accompany her. The big raindrops hit her face and body, which was painful and uncomfortable. She even had difficulty breathing. The huge rain curtain was like a pot cover with no end in sight. Fang Qiuyan was shrouded in it and couldn't move. Stumbling for a long distance, I still didn't see anyone. Fang Qiuyan felt that she must have gone in the wrong direction. He turned around and wanted to go back to where he was just now. At least there were people there just now. But before she had walked far, she stepped on something and stumbled. Just as she was about to fall, a big hand lifted her arm the next second. "Are you okay?" In the heavy rain, Fang Qiuyan heard Lu Jingsong's penetrating voice. Unexpectedly, it was he who supported her. Fang Qiuyan felt as stiff as a stone. Lu Jingsong looked at the person in front of him and felt that he looked familiar for some reason. But he couldn't say exactly where he was familiar with it. However, he was in a hurry to find Fang Qiuyan and had no intention of staying. After confirming that the other person was okay, he withdrew his hand and continued walking forward. Fang Qiuyan? It turns out that he wasn't looking for her. She was worried for nothing. Fang Qiuyan had just put her heart at ease when Sha Guoqiang's voice suddenly came from behind her. "Captain, where are you going?" "My sister-in-law is right here." Hearing this, Fang Qiuyan's heart suddenly rose again. Turned her head reflexively. Then I saw Lu Jingsong looking confused.
Where?
"Why don't I see her?" Sha Guoqiang. Fang Qiuyan. Realizing that he didn't recognize her, Fang Qiuyan turned and left. Lu Jingsong looked at the figure walking away quickly, and his eyes gradually widened. "Fang Qiuyan?" he shouted with a suspicious look on his face. Fang Qiuyan heard the sound and ran away. But no matter how fast she is, she can never be faster than a man who has been training for years. After running a few steps, Fang Qiuyan felt someone grabbing her arm again.
"You."
"Let go." She subconsciously tried to break free from his big hands. When Lu Jingsong heard the voice, he finally confirmed that the strange yet familiar woman in front of him was really Fang Qiuyan.
But
How come she has changed? Looking at the fair and beautiful woman in front of him, the shock in his heart could not be described in words. She is actually Fang Qiuyan. Sha Guoqiang didn't expect that Lu Jingsong didn't take the people to hide from the rain, but instead stood there in a daze. He felt very strange. "Captain, it's raining too hard. Take my sister-in-law out of the rain first so she won't catch a cold." After hearing this, Lu Jingsong finally came back to his senses. "Come on, I'll take you out of the rain." As he spoke, he did not let go and continued to hold her arm. The posture didn't seem like he was helping her, but rather like he was afraid that she would run away. Fang Qiuyan was not willing to let him help her, so she struggled again. "Let me go. I can walk by myself." Being so close, Lu Jingsong could clearly feel her strong resistance, and suddenly, his heart couldn't help but tighten. The heavy rain was hitting her body, but Fang Qiuyan didn't care about the discomfort and tried harder. This time, he successfully broke free from Lu Jingsong's hand. "Comrade Xiaosha, please lead the way," said to Sha Guoqiang, who was standing beside her. Sha Guoqiang felt that these two people were a little strange, but he didn't dare to say anything, so he nodded quickly. "Okay, sister-in-law, company commander, follow me." After saying that, he led the way. Fang Qiuyan quickly followed without looking back. Lu Jingsong looked at the distant and cold figure in the rainstorm, and his heart became more and more blocked. Pursing his lips, he took a step forward to catch up with the two of them. With Sha Guoqiang leading the way, the group soon arrived at the melon shed. Already quite a few people standing in the melon shed, and Lin Wanshu was among them. When she saw her, Fang Qiuyan's eyes became hot, and she suddenly felt an indescribable grievance in her heart. Lin Wanshu was talking to Qin Yan, and when she looked up, she saw Fang Qiuyan, all wet. "Qiuyan, come in quickly." He moved to the side of Qin Yan to make some room for her. It turned out that Qin Yan received a temporary notice to carry out artificial rainfall. Firing the sheks. Lin Wanshu's clothes were barely wet. Other members who received the notice also went back early, and the rest had just come down from the mountain. Fang Qiuyan blinked, suppressed the surging emotions in her heart, and walked into the melon shed. However, her clothes were wet, and she didn't dare get too close to Lin Wanshu, for fear of getting her wet too. Lin Wanshu took out her handkerchief from her bag and handed it over. "Wipe it quickly."
Good.
As soon as she got closer to her, Fang Qiuyan felt like she had found her backbone, and the panic in her heart was reduced a little. After a while, Lu Jingsong also entered the melon shed. Seeing him, the members in the melon shed greeted him enthusiastically. "Comrade soldier, are you okay? Why are your clothes soaked?" "Comrade soldier, I have a towel here. Would you like to wipe it with it?" Supporting and loving soldiers has become the instinct of the Chinese people. Qin Yan came in early just now, and there was a pregnant woman next to him, so no one dared to squeeze next to him. At this moment, Lu Jingsong and Sha Guoqiang came in, all wet. Everyone, before they had time to release their enthusiasm, threw all their attention on the two of them. Lu Jingsong couldn't even get close to Fang Qiuyan as he was drowned in the enthusiasm of the crowd. Fang Qiuyan breathed a sigh of relief when she saw that he was too busy to come to her. "But my mood is still very low." She also didn't think she could hide from him forever. After all, that was not realistic. She had originally planned that the two of them would maintain this kind of relationship, and when she was admitted to the pharmaceutical factory, they would move into the dormitory. But she never expected that Lu Jingsong would suddenly change his mind. This sudden change caught Fang Qiuyan off guard and made her feel indescribably irritated and depressed. Lin Wanshu noticed that she was in a bad mood, and a hint of worry flashed in her eyes. What happened to her? Fang Qiuyan didn't have breakfast in the morning, nor did she eat the red bean cake just now. After she settled down, she felt so hungry that she didn't even have the strength in her hands and feet. Just when I was about to take out the red bean cake from my trouser pocket, I found that it had been wet by the rain. It was too noisy here, and Lin Wanshu didn't hear her hungry cry. Just seeing her pale face, he took out a candy from his pocket. "Qiuyan, come and have some candy." People of this generation not only lack oil and water for a long time, but also lack sugar. Hypoglycemia is very common among girls. Fang Qiuyan was extremely hungry, but she didn't refuse. She took the candy, pelleted it, and put it in her mouth. The sweet candy with a strong milky aroma filled her entire mouth, and Fang Qiuyan instantly felt her stomach feel a lot better. "Although I'm still hungry, I don't feel as uncomfortable as before." "Thank you, Wanshu." Fang Qiuyan's voice trembled with gratitude. I don't know whether he was grateful for the candy she gave him, or for something else. Lin Wanshu glanced at Lu Jingsong, who looked over here from time to time, and couldn't help but fall into deep thought. Is her abnormality related to Lu Jingsong? Qin Yan didn't like his wife's attention being on other men, so he also glanced at Lu Jingsong. Lu Jingsong, who had finally gotten rid of the crowd's enthusiasm, had no time to breathe a sigh of relief before he received a warning look from the battalion commander. That was about to take a step forward froze on the spot. What does this mean, battalion commander? Although he didn't understand why the battalion commander didn't let him pass, following orders had become his instinct. The battalion commander wouldn't let him pass, so Lu Jingsong could only suppress his anxiety and stand still. Fang Qiuyan was completely relieved. The heavy rain lasted for an hour before it stopped. The dry and cracked earth gulped down this hearty nectar. The members were all very excited when they saw the ground was completely wet by the rain. Those who saw Qin Yan order the soldiers to fire cannons into the sky thanked him one after another. Even Lin Wanshu couldn't help but give him a thumbs up. Well done, comrade Qin Yan. But Qin Yan, who was praised, not only showed no joy on his face, but also gave her an ambiguous look. Lin Wanshu, thinking about how he asked her to rest more at home, but she still sneaked out, Lin Wanshu felt a tingling sensation on her scalp. He didn't say anything just now, and she thought he didn't care about her. I didn't expect to be waiting for her here. Giving him a flattering look, she said pitifully, I'm so hungry. Let's go back and eat. How could Qin Yan not know that she was pretending? After all, she has her own space, so she has no shortage of food and won't starve. But when he saw her pitiful little appearance, he softened his heart. How could he have the heart to argue with her? He sighed inwardly and reached out his hand to her. Let us go back. It had just rained, the soil was wet, and the road was slippery. If there weren't so many people around, Qin Yan would have wanted to take her home directly. Seeing that he was no longer angry, Lin Wanshu curved her eyebrows and put her slender little hand into his big hand without any hesitation. But she did not forget her companions, so she turned around and said to Fang Qiuyan, Qiuyan, the rain has stopped, let's go back. Fang Qiuyan looked at the couple who seemed to be as sweet as honey and felt that it was rather tactless for her to just follow them like that. But if she didn't go with Lin Wanshu, Lu Jingsong would definitely come to find her. After weighing the pros and cons, she finally followed. Lu Jingsong felt deeply upset when he saw Fang Qiuyan walked away without even looking at him. However, he knew that now was not the time to talk, so he said nothing and just walked silently behind the few people. Sha Guoqiang glanced at Fang Qiuyan, who was avoiding Lu Jingsong like the plague, and suddenly a strange thought flashed through his mind. Could it be that the sister-in-law actually disliked the company commander, and the company commander couldn't bear the loss, so he didn't go back home? A group of people walked slowly toward the army on the muddy road. This kind of muddy road is actually no problem for soldiers like them. After all, what kind of environment have they not experienced during their daily training? But since there was a pregnant woman here, they had to slow down. Returned to the army, one had to pass Dongtu Mountain. From a distance, Lin Wanshu saw the factory building that had been built on the vacant land. The factory building is a large bungalow that occupies a large area. Lin Wanshu has already checked it out and found that the factory building is 5 meters high. Not only is it spacious, it is also tall enough. Even large equipment can be put down easily. Next to the factory building, a row of tiled houses were built to be used as dormitories. Although the factory mainly recruits military wives, some special talents still have to be recruited from outside. Around the factory. From the outside, the factory building has been almost completed. After the equipment is put into the factory, we will conduct exams and recruit people. These days, military wives come to see her every day. Either I carry this or I carry that. Lin Wanshu went to the fields every day was because she didn't want to deal with these worldly affairs. Although she had already told them that they needed to be assessed before entering the factory. But there are still a lot of people coming to the door every day. Qin Yan felt helpless when he saw her looking around while walking. Walk carefully and watch your step. Lin Wanshu is still under criminal charge, so how could she dare to look around after hearing this?
New.
After saying that, she withdrew her gaze and walked away obediently. Qin Yan looked at her expression, pretending to be honest, and a smile flashed in his eyes. Lu Jingsong glanced at the couple in front of him, who looked like a couple from heaven, then looked at Fang Qiuyan, who had always ignored him, and felt mixed emotions in his heart. Fang Qiuyan felt the gazes behind her and became more and more annoyed. If she could, she would like to grow a pair of wings and fly away. A group of 5 people walked back to the army with different expressions. At the fork in the road, Sha Guoqiang went back to the military camp alone. The remaining 2 couples walked towards the family quarters. Before entering the family compound, Lin Wanshu stopped. Looking down at her muddy shoes, she couldn't help but frown. My shoes are so heavy, I can't walk anymore. I'll find a place to squeeze them off. She suspected that each shoe weighed 2 or 3 kilograms. Hearing this, Qin Yan squatted down and said to her, Take off your shoes and give them to me. Stand here and wait for a moment. He pointed to the flat stone path next to him. Lin Wanshu didn't bother to be polite with him. She just took off her shoes and stood on the stone slab. When Lu Jingsong saw this, he subconsciously looked at Fang Qiuyan. But she just found a stone and started squeezing mud, with no intention of looking for him at all. Lu Jingsong. Fang Qiuyan squeezed the mud while wearing her shoes. She was very quick and cleared the mud off her shoes in just a few strokes. But she didn't mean to leave. Lu Jingsong looked at her wet clothes and couldn't help but frowning. Qiuyan, go back and change your clothes first, or you'll catch a cold. She had been wearing this dress for so long that he was afraid that the cold air would enter her body. Hearing this, Fang Qiuyan raised her eyelids and said indifferently, You go back first. I'm not in a hurry. Lu Jingsong. She is not anxious, but he is so anxious. Lin Wanshu looked at the two weird people. What was she not clear about? There seemed to be a big conflict between them. She knew that Fang Qiuyan and Lu Jingsong's marriage was an accident, but Fang Qiuyan had never mentioned Lu Jingsong to her, and she didn't know their specific situation. However, Fang Qiuyan's clothes were still wet, so she really couldn't delay any longer. Thinking of this, Lin Wanshu advised, Qiuyan, go back and change your clothes first, and then make some ginger soup to drink. Don't catch a cold. As soon as these words were spoken, Fang Qiuyan, who had just said that she was not in a hurry, nodded. Well, I'll go back first. I'll come find you later. After saying that, she just left. Seeing this, Lu Jingsong hurriedly thanked Lin Wanshu and chased after her. After a while, Qin Yan also came back. I don't know where he took them to clean them, but not only was the mud off the shoes gone, they were also washed clean. Lin Wanshu's belly became bigger and her body became heavier. Qin Yan asked her to support him, then squatted down and put on her shoes. If the soldier at the door wasn't on guard, his eyes would have popped out of his head. Is this still the legendary cold-faced Yama? It turns out he is like this in private. Lin Wanshu had become accustomed to Qin Yan taking care of her like this, and didn't think there was anything wrong with it. Putting on the clean shoes, she felt completely comfortable. Without several pounds of mud sticking to her feet, she felt as light as a feather. Couple walked all the way back home. Before I even entered the door, I heard Yang Zheng's somewhat sarcastic voice coming from inside. Guan Hongmei, what's wrong with you? Wanshu has already said that you can enter the factory if you pass the assessment, so why do you still come here every day? Didn't you see that Lin Wanshu was so scared by them that she didn't even go home, and went out every day with a big belly? Don't lie to me. I don't believe she didn't use a backdoor for you. They all came here to use connections to get into the factory, so who is nobler than who? Hearing this, Yang Zheng was speechless. The exam is open to the public. You will identify the herbs on the spot and perform preliminary processing on the medicinal materials. If you pass, you can enter the factory. You are not the only one taking the exam. Everyone who signs up can take it. If I were you, I would rather use this time to study hard and avoid these crooked ways. Hearing this, Guan Hongmei's face turned even worse. You have been secretly studying for so long, so of course you can talk easily. Even if I start learning now, I can't catch up. You stopped me from coming to see Lin Wanshu. Didn't you just want to prevent me from entering the factory? Seeing her being so unreasonable, Yang Zheng was so angry that she almost laughed. I don't know who is secretly mocking Wanshu for being a fool, not charging money for her treatment, but only for the herbs. We collected herbs for Wanshu and processed them, but you still talked about us. You look down on us so much. How dare you come to us now? These words left Guan Hongmei speechless. Her lips moved, and when she was about to explain herself, she saw Lin Wanshu walking in from the door. Guan Hongmei's eyes lit up, and when she was about to go up to her and plead for mercy, she saw Qin Yan following her into the room. Seeing Qin Yan's brows slightly frowned, and his face not looking very good, Guan Hongmei froze on the spot. Lin Wanshu knew that she was afraid of Qin Yan, but she did not point it out. Instead, she smiled and said, Comrade Guan, what do you want to talk to me about? Hearing this, Guan Hongmei smiled somewhat awkwardly.
No.
No, I was just passing by. Just passing by. Are you kidding? If she dares to harass Lin Wanshu in front of him, her man will definitely be in trouble. If he gets into trouble, his living expenses will be reduced by half. Guan Hongmei had the guts to ask Lin Wanshu for help, but she didn't dare to provoke Qin Yan. After saying that, she ran away in shame. Guan Hongmei left. Qin Yan saw that Yang Jing seemed to have something to say to Lin Wanshu, so he went to the kitchen to cook. His mother was not at home, and his wife said she was hungry, so he naturally couldn't wait for his mother to come back before doing it. Hearing the sound of rice being added in the kitchen, Yang Jing almost cried with envy. How do people find men? Capable, he's also so considerate. Why isn't her family's Lao do the same as them? Lin Wanshu didn't know why Yang Jing was looking for her, so she led her back to the pharmacy. As soon as they entered the pharmacy, Yang Jing took her hand and said, Wanshu, do you still have that face cream? I've run out of the box at home. Originally, Yang Jing didn't know that Lin Wanshu had this thing. Only after seeing Fang Qiuyan transformed from an ugly duckling into a swan did she realize that Lin Wanshu had this good thing. Immediately, Yang Jing shamelessly pestered Lin Wanshu to buy a box to try. After all, who doesn't want to be beautiful? Although the face cream has obtained the certificate, Lin Wanshu still needs to find someone to test it so that it will be easier to promote. Therefore, I didn't charge for the first box and gave it directly to Yang Jing. After using it for a period of time, Yang Jing felt that her skin had become much whiter and more tender. Look, as soon as I finished using the face cream, she came back for another one. Also, I made some more a while ago. You can use it. Lin Wanshu spoke. She took out a box of facial cream from the drawer and gave it to her. Yang Jing took the cream and said happily, Wanshu, this thing is so useful, much better than the vanishing cream you buy outside. I must give you money this time. Such a good thing cannot be bought even with money. How can you feel comfortable taking other people's things for free? This time, Lin Wanshu did not refuse her money and bills, but accepted some of them symbolically. Although the price of a box of face cream is not worth much, Lin Wanshu does not intend to give it away for free. Still understands the principle of a little kindness will be followed by a grudge. Yang Jing bought the face cream and left happily. Her husband, Mr. Du, has recently praised her for her improved skin. This little bit of money is really worth it. Not long after Yang Jing left, Du Fuling also came. As soon as she entered the door, she looked at Lin Wanshu with an eager smile. Comrade Wanshu, you're back? Lin Wanshu was sorting the medicine box. Hearing this, she nodded lightly. Where do you feel uncomfortable? Originally, Lin Wanshu's opinion of Du Fuling had changed a little, but after knowing that her son bullied Do Hua like that change disappeared without a trace. In the past 2 months, Du Fuling would come to see Lin Wanshu every few days. But she had finally softened before the new year, but somehow she became cold again. This made Du Fuling feel a little frustrated. Originally, she didn't want to bother with the doctor anymore and planned to just treat her as an ordinary doctor. She hardly came here in the past 2 months. But yesterday, when she accidentally heard that Lin Wanshu had a very useful facial cream and that the dark and earthy Fang Qiuyan became fair after applying her facial cream, Du Fuling became uneasy. Without caring whether she was being ignored or not, she shamelessly went to the door.
Hee.
It's like this, Comrade Wanshu, I heard that you have a kind of face cream that can improve skin after applying it, so I want to come over and buy a box from you to use it back home. Knowing that she didn't like those roundabout words, Du Fuling spoke directly. Lin Wanshu originally intended to mass-produce this cream, so she would naturally not turn people away just because of her likes and dislikes. Yes, there are. $5 plus an industrial ticket. This facial cream contains several precious medicinal materials. Its production cost is more expensive than vanishing cream, so its actual selling price will naturally be more expensive than vanishing cream. This price could buy several boxes of vanishing cream, but when Du Fuling thought of Fang Qiuyan's fair and beautiful face, she took out the money without hesitation. I want to buy one.
No.
Give me 2 boxes. If it is used well, she would give it away as a gift. Lin Wanshu nodded and took out 2 boxes of facial cream from the drawer. Du Fuling put down $10 and 2 industrial tickets. After taking the cream, Her face was full of excitement, as if she was holding a big treasure in her hands. But with such excitement, she couldn't help feeling a little disappointed when she met his lukewarm expression. She want to be friends with her? She had already apologized to her so sincerely. However, Du Fuling didn't have the courage to ask this question. Holding 2 boxes of face cream, she left with mixed feelings. After Du Fuling left, Lin Wanshu went straight to the kitchen. Sun Shifeng is not at home. He must have gone to the fields. Lin Wanshu's farmland was not originally intended to be used to grow rice. But Sun Shifeng is used to farming after all, and she feels it is a waste of resources if she doesn't grow rice in paddy fields. So, after the Chinese New Year, she started to actively raise and plant rice seedlings. On weekdays, I just weed and fertilize in the fields when I have nothing to do. It rained so heavily just now. It goes without saying that Sun Shifeng must be worried about the crops in the fields, so she went out as soon as the rain stopped. In the kitchen, Xiao Miao has returned and is helping her father make the fire. I didn't even know my mom was here. The young man next to him was giving careful guidance. Oh, no, you can't put so much in at once, or the fire will go out. Xiao Jianxi is already an expert at making fire, so guiding Xiao Miao should be no problem at all. But Xiao Miao was obviously not someone who could be manipulated. After Xiao Jianxi finished speaking, she stuffed another piece of firewood into the pot. Burn a big fire. Seeing that she didn't listen to his advice, Xiao Jianxi couldn't help but sigh and stroke his forehead. Miao Miao is a kitchen killer like his mother? Just as I was thinking this, the flame in the stove hole went out, and a thick white smoke came out of the hole. Small construction. Well, no doubt about it. She is definitely it. Brother, the fire is out, said in confusion when she saw the thick smoke coming out of the stove. Xiao Jianxi was already used to that pit and didn't find it strange, so he reached out and took out 2 or 3 pieces of firewood. Then he took the torch and blew into it. After blowing 2 or 3 times, the flames in the stove hole rekindled.
Wow.
Xiao Miao looked at the magical scene and couldn't help but exclaimed loudly, looking at Xiao Jianxi with admiration. Xiao Jianxi held his chest high, his face full of pride. Fortunately, he knows how to make a fire. Otherwise, how could his sister discover how powerful he is? Qin Yan was speechless when he saw his daughter's admiring expression. He is so good at making fire. Why don't I see her worshipping him? What a heartless person. Lin Wanshu couldn't help but laugh when she saw that he was jealous of even a child. After touching the little one in her stomach who was starting to cook, she walked over to him and said, "Have you cooked the food? I'm so hungry." Hearing this, how could Qin Yan care about the 2 little guys? Then he turned to Lin Wanshu and said, "It will be ready soon. Go sit over there and wait for a while. The smell here is strong." Although she did not suffer from morning sickness, ever since she became pregnant, whenever she smelled kitchen fumes, she felt as if something was pressing against her stomach, making her very uncomfortable, and she even had no appetite for food. After trying a few times, when it came to cooking time, Sun Shifeng and Qin Yan simply didn't let her get close to the stove. Xiao Miao heard her mother's voice. How could she care about lighting the fire? After throwing down the fire gun, she jumped towards her happily, who was just about to show off his skills, was suddenly dumbfounded. Wasn't she supposed to learn how to blow the fire? Why did she run away? In the end, he had no choice but to accept his fate and start a fire himself. On the other side, Fang Qiuyan ignored Lu Jingsong and went all the way home, changed her clothes directly, and went to the kitchen to heat up the breakfast. After changing his clothes, Lu Jingsong also came to the kitchen. The woman who was concentrating on cooking at the stove, he still felt a sense of unreality. How could a person suddenly change so much? Fang Qiuyan ignored Lu Jingsong's gaze. The pharmaceutical factory will be operational in half a month. Lin Wanshu said that with her current knowledge base, she would have no problem passing the exam. She will just bear with it for now, and when the time is right, she will leave here. After making up her mind, Fang Qiuyan calmed down completely. The kitchen was silent, and no one spoke. As she stir-fried the vegetables in the pot, A sizzling sound could be heard from time to time. The vegetables were already yellow in the morning, and now they were put back into the pot. They became even yellower. Fang Qiuyan didn't care and just put it on the plate after it was cooked. After being hungry for the whole morning, she had no energy left and was too lazy to cook anything else, so she decided to just make do with the meal. The dishes were served. Lu Jingsong consciously reached out his hand. "I'll serve it." Hearing this, Fang Qiuyan did not argue with him and withdrew her hands to wash the pot. Fang Qiuyan is used to doing housework and her movements are very skillful. Washing the pot, I cleaned the stove. I have to say, the body lotion Lin Wanshu gave me is surprisingly effective. That had been turned yellow by the sun became white and delicate. The smooth hands formed a sharp contrast with the gray stove. And that cold face had a hint of bookishness that was out of place in the kitchen. If her voice hadn't changed, Lu Jingsong would have suspected that she had been switched. Holding the plate of yellow vegetables, Lu Jingsong forced himself to look away after a while. After putting the dishes on the table, he took the initiative to get the dishes and wash them. After Fang Qiuyan cleaned up the stove, she took off her apron. Just as I walked out of the kitchen and was about to call Dohua, I saw the little girl running in from the front door, holding a bunch of flowers in her hand. When he saw her, Dohua's eyes suddenly lit up. "Mom, this is for you. Sister Tingding taught me how to make it." Dohua held the flowers in her hand high, her little face full of pride. Looking at the flowers she handed to her, Fang Qiuyan's heart softened. The irritation caused by Lu Jingsong was also miraculously smoothed out.
Wow.
Dohua has learned how to make a bouquet? It's so beautiful, right? Thank you, Mom likes it very much. Taking the bouquet from the little girl, she smiled gently and contentedly with her eyebrows curved, which formed a sharp contrast with her coldness just now. This was not the first time Lu Jingsong had seen the mother and daughter together. But the impact this time was greater than any previous time. Looking at the bright, smiling face in the sun, Lu Jingsong could clearly hear the thumping sound of his heart. After receiving the flowers, Fang Qiuyan found a cup, poured some water into it, and then solemnly placed the flowers in the cup. When Dohua saw how much her mother liked the flowers she gave her, her expression became even more proud. "If you like it, I'll make you another bunch of Dohua next time." The little guy followed his mother happily and said. But just as she finished speaking, she suddenly realized that there was someone standing in the kitchen. When she saw the strange yet familiar figure, she was stunned on the spot. Dohua eats and sleeps with her mother every day, and then gets up and goes out with her mother. It can be said that she hasn't seen Lu Jingsong for several months. When she suddenly saw someone, there was a hint of curiosity and confusion on her little face. Because Fang Qiuyan deliberately avoided him a while ago, and Lu Jingsong also had a knot in his heart, he acquiesced to her behavior. At this moment, his heart was suddenly filled with guilt. How could he ignore innocent children because of the grudges between adults? "Dohua, I'm your dad, remember?" Lu Jingsong squatted down and spoke in a low voice. I don't know if it's because he looks very gentle or if Dohua has become bolder. Hearing Lu Jingsong's words, she nodded. "Remember, my father took me to set off firecrackers." Dohua had never had such a happy spring festival, and she remembered every detail of that day clearly. Dad not only took her to set off firecrackers, but also took her to play in the army. Hearing this, Lu Jingsong felt even more guilty. He is not a qualified husband, nor a qualified father. That's why I let them hide from me like that. Fang Qiuyan didn't know what Lu Jingsong was thinking, and even if she knew, her decision would not change. Dohua needs fatherly love, but she no longer needs to rely on men. Anyway, the factory is not far from the staff quarters, and Dohua can come back anytime if she wants to see her father. While the father and daughter were talking, Fang Qiuyan went to get some food.
She was starving to death.
If she didn't eat something, she wouldn't even have the strength to speak. Seeing that she had gone to get food, Lu Jingsong did not continue chatting with Dohua, but carried her back to the dining table. After putting her in a seat, he sat between the mother and daughter. Fang Qiuyan didn't even raise her eyelids. She picked up the porridge and took a sip. After drinking the warm porridge, she felt as if she were alive again. After drinking a few mouthfuls of porridge, Fang Qiuyan picked up the chopsticks and picked up a piece of green vegetables whose color could no longer be identified. As soon as the vegetables were put into the mouth, a salty, astringent, and bitter taste filled the entire mouth. Fang Qiuyan frowned slightly, but she said nothing. She just chewed a few bites and swallowed it. After swallowing it, she picked up the porridge and took a few mouthfuls. He had never tasted a single bite of the food that Lu Jingsong cooked. However, he did not doubt his skills. Seeing Fang Qiuyan had finished eating, he also picked up a piece with chopsticks and put it in his mouth. But in the next second, his expression changed. He almost spit out the vegetables in his mouth. After finally swallowing it, he also gulped down a few mouthfuls of porridge. Just after finishing his drink, he saw Fang Qiuyan trying to pick up some food, so he quickly stopped her and said, "This is overcooked, don't eat it." Hearing this, Fang Qiuyan twitched the corners of her lips and said, "It's not like I haven't eaten it before. It's a little salty, but it's just right when eaten with rice soup." This is how she had always been in the Lu family in the past. Listening to her calm words, Lu Jingsong suddenly felt the bitter taste in his mouth, as if it spread throughout his body. He hadn't expected her to have such a hard time. Because he blamed her for framing him, he never asked about her affairs for all these years. It's as if you don't ask her, she won't exist. But at this moment, seeing her swallowing such a disgusting dish without changing her expression, his heart ached, and he felt regretful. What did he do during those years?
Sorry.
Lu Jingsong spoke with a difficult voice. He knew that saying sorry couldn't make up for anything, but apart from apologizing, he didn't know how to repay her for the suffering she had endured. Fang Qiuyan twitched the corners of her lips. Lu Jingsong, not every sorry can be exchanged for an "it's okay." Hearing this, Lu Jingsong felt even more bitter. "I know, I don't dare to ask for your forgiveness. I just hope you can give me a chance to make it up to you and the child." But when Fang Qiuyan heard this, she felt no wavering in her heart. "Thank you for your kindness, but I don't need it anymore. Please compensate me with Dohua." In the past, she had no choice but to work hard in the Lu family to keep herself and her children alive. But she is no longer the ignorant woman. She can study, and she can earn money.
She
had the confidence to not forgive him for his indifference. Lu Jingsong didn't expect her to say that, and he was stunned on the spot. Looking at the independent and confident woman in front of him, he suddenly realized that he seemed to have missed something. "Qiuyan, I was wrong in the past. I was a jerk. Before he could finish his words, he was interrupted by Fang Qiuyan. "Stop, I don't want to listen. If you continue, I'll leave." This was the first time Lu Jingsong saw her so tough, and he was stunned on the spot. Meeting her eyes that showed neither sadness nor joy, he suddenly felt an indescribable panic. It seemed as if something was developing in a direction he couldn't accept. But Lu Jingsong didn't dare to say anything else. Because he had a hunch that if he said another word, she would definitely get up and leave without hesitation. It was not easy for him to have dinner at the same table with her, so he didn't dare to take the risk. Seeing the fun, Fang Qiuyan picked up her bowl and drank porridge again. She didn't know if it was because she had argued with him, but Fang Qiuyan felt refreshed. In a good mood, she stretched out her chopsticks again to pick up some food to eat with the porridge. But before the dish was picked up, Lu Jingsong took it away with his quick eyes and hands. "You can't eat this. It's too salty and bad for your health." Fang Qiuyan. In the end, she didn't argue with him and just buried her head in drinking her porridge. Dohua didn't like eating vegetables to begin with, so when she saw her father taking the vegetables away, she breathed a sigh of relief. Close call. My mom almost forced me to eat vegetables. Although Dohua had not tasted the dish of vegetables, she strongly rejected it when she saw the appearance of it. After finishing the meal, Dohua put down his bowl and chopsticks and couldn't wait to go out to play with his friends. Lu Jingsong had to go to the military camp in the afternoon and didn't have much time to stay at home. In the little time he had, he didn't plan to go anywhere, so he just stood aside and watched Fang Qiuyan wash the dishes. Fang Qiuyan. She was speechless as she was being stared at while washing dishes. Rolling her eyes inwardly, she quickly washed the dishes and went back to her room. He had no intention of talking to Lu Jingsong at all. Lu Jingsong looked at the door that closed with a bang and felt a tightness in his heart.
She.
Just dislike him so much? Fong Qiuyan didn't care about Lu Jingsong's mood. After returning to the room, she took out the medicine book and started reading. During this period, she was busy leading people to dig herbs every day and had no time to study. Didn't have to go digging for herbs this afternoon, she might as well review. The test will be held in a few days. Although Lin Wanshu said she should be able to pass, Fong Qiuyan was still worried. To ensure that everything went well, she thought she'd better practice more in the next few days. Taking out the book, Fong Qiuyan sat down at the table and started reading. The table is placed next to the window, and the bright light shines on the books, which is very comfortable to read. There are 2 windows in the room, and Fong Qiuyan's desk is placed next to the window at the back of the house. If Lu Jingsong hadn't deliberately chosen the angle, he wouldn't have been able to see her. Because she was busy reviewing, Fong Qiuyan soon immersed herself in the world of books. Her memory is pretty good. Several months of study, she has recognized most of the characters commonly used in daily life. The reading speed is also much faster than at the beginning. In the yard, Lu Jingsong was still standing there blankly. Although time was running out, he still didn't want to leave. Staring straight at the half-open window, Lu Jingsong barely resisted the urge to walk forward. Her cold look just now flashed through his mind, and his heart felt like it was being rubbed by something, feeling sour, astringent, swollen, and painful. A moment, I didn't know what it felt like. Time passed by minute. He knew it was time to leave, but he was reluctant to take a step. In the end, it was too late. Lu Jingsong gritted his teeth and turned away. Fong Qiuyan reviewed everything she had learned before going to find Lin Wanshu. At that time, Lin Wanshu had just sent away a military wife who was seeking medical treatment. When she saw Fong Qiuyan, she hurriedly pulled her into the pharmacy. "Qiuyan, what's wrong with you today? Did something happen to you?" As soon as she entered the door, Lin Wanshu asked with concern. Fong Qiuyan has now calmed down. Especially when she found that she could speak with her back straight in front of Lu Jingsong, she no longer had the collapse she had in the morning. However, when she met Lin Wanshu's concerned eyes, she thought about it and brought up her past. "You should have heard about me and Lu Jingsong, right?" Hearing this, Lin Wanshu nodded. "I listened to a few sentences." Fong Qiuyan smiled self-deprecatingly. "Everyone in the village laughed at me, saying I was shameless and stole my sister's man." She slowly talked about her past, including that confusing night. "I deserved it for walking into the wrong room, but couldn't he recognize Fong Dongxue and me? After all, there is such a big difference in their body shapes. Fong Dongxue is the typical lucky girl that everyone in the village likes. She has a round face, is tall, and has a big butt. You can tell at first glance that she is the type who is good at giving birth. Perhaps because she had never eaten good food since she was a child, she was barely 1.6 meters tall, had a small frame, and was thin. This is also the frustration she has buried deep in her heart for many years. She walked into the wrong room, and he recognized the wrong person, but he put all the blame on her. He had been gone for so many years and hadn't cared about her or Dohua at all. How could she let this go? At the end, Fong Qiuyan couldn't help but tears up her eyes again. Lin Wanshu couldn't help but feel sorry for her. But from what she just said, she found something wrong. "Qiuyan, when a man is really drunk and can't recognize people, he can't do that." Hearing this, Fong Qiuyan was stunned. "You mean he wasn't drunk?" She did not doubt Lin Wanshu's words. After all, she was a doctor and must be an expert in this area. But when Fong Qiuyan recalled the look on his face when he woke up, as if he wanted to eat her, it didn't seem like he was pretending. It may not be this reason, there may be other hidden reasons. Considering that neither of them had any memory of that night, Lin Wanshu had some vague guesses in her heart. Hearing this, Fong Qiuyan slowly widened her eyes. Hidden secret? Think carefully, did you eat anything strange that day? Strange things? That day was the day Lu Jingsong proposed marriage, so the dishes at home were naturally different from usual. There are not only fish and meat, but also hares and mushrooms. In the past, she was not allowed to eat these dishes, but that day, her family members went against their norm and not only allowed her to eat meat, but also let her drink alcohol. Fang Qiuyan had never drunk alcohol before, but faced with her family's sudden concern, she was flattered and drank a glass. Afterwards, I felt a bit dizzy, but she was still conscious. But after I came back from going to the toilet, I didn't remember anything. When I woke up the next day, I slept together with Lu Jingsong. Lin Wanshu frowned and asked again, "Did you smell any strange smell before you fell asleep?" Fang Qiuyan shook her head. "I was dizzy and didn't pay attention." Lin Wanshu suspected that they were drugged, and the person who drugged them was none other than the Fang family. But what is their motivation for doing this? After listening to Lin Wanshu's analysis, a picture suddenly flashed through Fang Qiuyan's mind. In the picture, Fang Dongxue was secretly meeting with a male educated youth in the village. And this educated youth later became her brother-in-law. Could it be that Fang Dongxue did this? Since she didn't want to marry Lu Jingsong, she drugged herself and asked him to marry her instead? The more I think about it, the clearer some clues become. Fang Qiuyan couldn't help but clench her fists. Lin Wanshu felt even more sympathetic towards her. Who are these Fang family parents? How could they mistreat their own daughter like this? Fang Qiuyan was in a state of confusion. She took a deep breath and said, "I have something else to do. I will go back first." Lin Wanshu was afraid that she would be sad, so she comforted her. "Qiuyan, some people are not worth your sadness. Let's study hard in the future. After we are admitted to the pharmaceutical factory, we will make good money and live a good life. I have something else to do. I will go back first." Lin Wanshu was afraid that she would be sad, so she comforted her. "Qiuyan, some people are not worth your sadness. Let's study hard in the future. After we are admitted to the pharmaceutical factory, we will make good money and live a good life." Hearing this, Fang Qiuyan nodded towards her gratefully. Why do they humiliate her like this? She designed to dump the man she didn't want on her? She also slandered her privately, saying that she liked Lu Jingsong, and that was why she climbed into bed with him and stole his man? Fang Dongxue. Fang Qiuyan squeezed out this name from between her teeth, wishing she could tear that vicious woman to pieces. Thinking that Lu Jingsong was most likely framed, she felt upset again. Although he was also a victim, everything that happened to her and Dohua was real. He ignored them for several years. Because she didn't know how to deal with this matter, Fang Qiuyan started to avoid Lu Jingsong again. Still waiting to ease the relationship with Fang Qiuyan, soon found himself trapped in a strange circle of living under the same roof, but never meeting Fang Qiuyan. If they had not met, Lu Jingsong might not have felt so bad. But ever since he met her, he couldn't stand the days without seeing her. But there was no point in him being anxious, after all. He still had to go to the military camp for training during the day. Fang Qiuyan deliberately avoided him, and he couldn't see her. Unless he knocks on her door at night. But since he had experienced her toughness, Lu Jingsong no longer dared to act rashly. I was afraid that if I angered her, she would resist me even more. A moment, Lu Jingsong didn't know what to do with her. His heart felt like it was being scratched by a cat, both painful and itchy. Fang Qiuyan was upset and didn't pay any attention to him. Apart from studying, she accompanied Lin Wanshu to the Shangpa Brigade every day to treat Lu Xiuying's mother-in-law's eyes. Qin Yan was naturally worried about Lin Wanshu going there. However, he had a lot of things to do in the army and couldn't leave. Since Fang Qiuyan was with him, he didn't say anything. The baby in Lu Xiuying's belly is already full term, and there's still more than 10 days before the due date. During this period, although when Xianghan didn't say anything, she was so anxious that she was about to get angry. If her daughter-in-law gave birth to a baby, and her eyes were still not healed. I originally thought that this young doctor's explanation made perfect sense and that my eyes could definitely be saved. But after 4 days of treatment, she still couldn't see anything. I didn't even feel any changes in my body. When Xianghan couldn't help feeling a little disappointed. But even though she was disappointed, she couldn't blame others. After all, others came to help her out of kindness. Lu Xiuying also felt a little disappointed. Although she had prepared for the worst, the feeling of having hope and then being disappointed was more painful than having no hope at all. Today is the 5th day of treatment, and Lin Wanshu gives Wen Xianghan acupuncture treatment as usual. Lu Xiaoying was waiting quietly by the side. There was hot water and pumpkin seeds on the table, which she brought specially to entertain Lin Wanshu and Fang Qiuyan. Although it was shabby, it was the best she could offer. Regardless of whether her mother-in-law's eyes can be cured or not, she is grateful to Lin Wanshu. At least they have good intentions. Lin Wanshu was not unaware of their disappointment. But she didn't say anything and removed the last needle step by step. After the needle was removed, Lu Xiaoying did not think much about it, thinking that it was the same as before, and brought some hot water to Lin Wanshu. "Dr. Lin, please drink some water first." Her home was destroyed by the mudslide, and most of the things in the house were washed away. She didn't have money to buy an enamel cup, so she cut some bamboo, polished it, and used it as a cup. Lin Wanshu took the cup, thanked her, and started drinking. Just after taking a sip, Wen Xianghan's excited and changed voice suddenly came from the side. "Xiaoying, Xiaoying, I see the light." Lu Xiaoying was serving water to Fang Qiuyan. When she heard this, she was stunned. It was as if he didn't realize what she meant. The person on the bed didn't dare to blink at all, as if he was afraid that if he blinked, he would no longer be able to see the light outside. It's been almost a year, and she had already given up and was ready to live in darkness for the rest of her life. Who would have thought that she would be able to see the light one day? Although everything was blurry and shadowy in his sight, Wen Xianghan was still shaking with excitement. "I saw it. I really saw the light." Grabbing the shadow closest to her, she shouted while crying and laughing. Lu Xiaoying's vision had already been blurred by tears. "Mom, can you really see?" she asked in a trembling voice. When Wen Xianghan heard her daughter-in-law's voice, she groped her way towards her. "I see it, I see it. I can see your shadow." Wen Xianghan cried with joy. She could really see that she no longer had to be a waste and a burden to her daughter-in-law. Hearing that she could really see, Lu Xiaoying could no longer hold back and burst into tears. No one knew how scared she was. That I'll die of exhaustion before I have time to raise my child. But she couldn't stop. Her mother-in-law and children are counting on her. If she stopped, they would all starve to death. Now that her mother-in-law can see, Lu Xiaoying feels that she has hope again. Unable to hold back, she knelt down towards Lin Wanshu, holding up her huge belly. "Thank you. Dr. Lin, you are our great benefactor. You saved us, and I will never forget your kindness in my life." Lin Wanshu be willing to let her kneel? But before she could reach out her hand, Fang Qiuyan quickly grabbed the person. "Sister-in-law, there is no need to do this. We are in a new society now. We cannot kneel down at every turn." When she saw her, Fang Qiuyan was reminded of her past self. At that time, she was in a daze, as if she was in darkness and could not see a trace of light. It was Lin Wanshu who created a hole in her world. Pull her out of the dark quagmire. Now seeing this poor mother-in-law and daughter-in-law regain, we are in a new society now. We cannot kneel down at every turn. When she saw her, Fang Qiuyan was reminded of her past self. At that time, she was in a daze, as if she was in darkness and could not see a trace of light. It was Lin Wanshu. Lu Xiaoying still had tears in her eyes, but when she heard this, she smiled. "Yes, we have gotten through the most difficult days. Now my mother-in-law will be able to see again soon, and the team can also grow medicine and sell it to the military pharmaceutical factory. In the days to come, they will definitely get better and better. And all these beautiful prospects are brought by the girl in front of us." "Thank you, Dr. Lin," said solemnly again. When the people in the team learned that Grandma Lu Xiaoying could see the light again, they were immediately excited. Dr. Lin is indeed a miracle doctor. Of course, Wang Chunya's hand was almost broken, and it was she who cured it. A moment, the entire team praised Lin Wanshu's medical skills. Today's treatment, Lin Wanshu and Fang Qiuyan did not stay long and went straight back to the family quarters. Fang Qiuyan first sent Lin Wanshu home, and then went back to her own home. It was already afternoon, and seeing that it was still early, She went up the mountain to pick up some dry leaves to start a fire. After climbing the mountain, Feng Qiuyan smelled ozone in the air. Realizing that it was going to rain again, she didn't dare stay any longer. She just packed some dry leaves and hurried down the mountain. But before I reached the foot of the mountain, I heard a loud boom, and then raindrops as big as beans began to fall down with a thunderous clatter. The rain fell quickly and fiercely, and soon everything was covered in white. Feng Qiuyan couldn't help but curse the evil god in her heart. Why did it rain as soon as it said it would, without even a chance to dodge? The mountain was full of trees, and she didn't dare to stay for fear of being struck by lightning. But the mountain road was difficult to walk on, and now it was raining, so it was slippery. Feng Qiuyan stumbled as she walked and fell several times on the road. The heavy rain hit my face. It was painful and uncomfortable, and I couldn't breathe. Feng Qiuyan's journey became increasingly difficult. It's not far, but it feels like there is no end. The heavy rain gathered into a stream, rushing past her feet, and she could no longer see the road clearly. Suddenly, Feng Qiuyan twisted her foot, not knowing what she stepped on. Then, she felt a sharp pain in her ankle. Feng Qiuyan gasped and fell heavily to the ground. I probably sprained my ankle. It hurts so much when I move. Forget about going down the mountain. I didn't expect that I just went up the mountain to collect firewood, but encountered such bad weather and sprained my ankle. Already feeling upset because of Feng Dongshua's matter, and suddenly her eyes couldn't help but turn red. Why does even God bully her? Is she going to die here? She was unwilling to give up. She had already learned so much, and the pharmaceutical factory was about to hold an exam to recruit people. How could she fall here? Thinking of this, Feng Qiuyan gritted her teeth, endured the severe pain from her right foot, and stood up with difficulty. But the mountain road is too slippery. Her foot was fine, and now that her foot was sprained, it was difficult for her to even stand. The whole person was shaking in the heavy rain. At this moment, a shout suddenly came from a distance. The rain was so loud that she couldn't hear what the other person was shouting. But in this situation, she couldn't help but feel excited when she met someone. She shouted at the top of her lungs, "Help!" As soon as he finished speaking, the shouting from the other side paused for a moment, and then became more urgent. Soon, Feng Qiuyan heard it clearly. The voice turned out to be Lu Jingsong's. "Qiuyan, where are you?" Down the mountain, the man's voice was still being heard. As they got closer, she could clearly hear that he was calling her name. Feng Qiuyan didn't expect that he would come up the mountain to find her. She felt very complicated. But when she thought about the messy relationship between them, she had an urge to escape. But she could only think about it. After all, her foot was sprained and she couldn't move. As I was silent, I saw a familiar military green figure appear in front of me. Qiuyan. Seeing her, the man was obviously very excited. He ran towards her. The heavy rain had soaked the man's body. His army green clothes stuck tightly to his body, revealing his muscular body. Seeing this, Feng Qiuyan subconsciously wanted to step back, but she apparently forgot that her foot was still injured. This movement caused another sharp pain in my foot. She suddenly couldn't control herself and fell backwards. At this critical moment, his arm was suddenly grabbed. Then, a force suddenly lifted her up. But Feng Qiuyan's feet were still hurting and she couldn't stand steadily. She cried out in pain, and then she couldn't control herself and fell forward. The next second, her face hit a solid wall of flesh. She was hit so hard that she saw stars. The pain was compounded. How could she stand? She just collapsed. Seeing this, Lu Jingsong was shocked. Without thinking too much, he reached out and hugged the person. His face was full of anxiety and he asked, "Are you injured?" As he said that, he was going to check on her condition. Feng Qiuyan was not willing to be hugged by him, so she stretched out her hand and pushed him away.
I
sprained my ankle. Please find me a stick so I can walk on my own." Hearing this, Lu Jingsong's face turned black. "You want me to let you, a man with an injured foot, get down the mountain by yourself?"
Who do you think I am?
Feng Qiuyan also knew that she was being unreasonable. but she just didn't want to have too much contact with him. Even if her foot was injured and she had no choice, she didn't want to. How could Lu Jingsong not feel her resistance? Suddenly, I felt angry and furious. She would rather drag her injured foot away than let him carry her? Anger filled his mind, and Lu Jingsong didn't care whether she hated him or not, and simply carried her up forcefully. How could Fong Qiuyan have thought that he would do this? The sudden weightlessness made her scream out in surprise. When she came to her senses, she felt embarrassed and annoyed, and began to struggle using her hands and feet.
Ace.
Put me down. Hearing this, Lu Jingsong was so angry that he almost laughed. Yes, I am an ace. If you move again, do you believe I will be even more of an ace? Upon hearing this, Fong Qiuyan was immediately frightened.
What?
What do you want to do? Lu Jingsong snorted with an ambiguous laugh. I'm not doing anything now, but if you keep twisting your body, I can't promise you anything. As he spoke, he tightened his grip on her thigh a little. The scorching temperature carried a strong sense of aggression, and Fong Qiuyan froze on the spot. How could he do this? Seeing that she really didn't move, Lu Jingsong breathed a sigh of relief, but at the same time, he felt inexplicably lost. Without thinking too much, he carried the person and walked down the mountain quickly. Over the past 6 months, the training intensity of their camp has been very high. In the rain was nothing to him. But what he was carrying today was not wood, nor equipment or weapons, but a living person, a soft woman. When he thought that the person he was carrying on his shoulders was the woman who had registered with him, the blood in his body began to boil uncontrollably. Even the way I walked seemed a little dizzy. But his muscles were too stiff, and after walking for a while, Fong Qiuyan felt very uncomfortable. Plus, this posture is really too embarrassing. She couldn't help but struggle again. I don't want to go back like this. The woman's soft body twisted on his shoulders, and the soft touch made Lu Jingsong tense up all over. Did she think that I really wouldn't do anything to her? He gritted his teeth and squeezed out a sentence. Don't go back like this. What do you want? Should I carry you on my back? After witnessing his strength, Fong Qiuyan knew that her protests were useless. Not wanting to suffer too much, nor to lose face, she finally compromised and said, Hearing this, Lu Jingsong finally breathed a sigh of relief, and even his voice softened. I'll put you down. Be careful not to step on that foot. After saying that, he let the man go. Fong Qiuyan's brain was a little congested from being carried just now. I feel a little dizzy at this moment. If Lu Jingsong hadn't supported her, she would have fallen down again. But Lu Jingsong, who was supporting the person, suddenly blushed incredibly. Why are you wearing this? Lu Jingsong didn't pay attention to it because he was in a hurry to take her away. At this moment, when he saw the jade-white skin showing through the thin clothes, he was so shocked that his mind went blank. Hearing this, Fong Qiuyan blinked, with a confused look on her face, not knowing what he meant. When she saw his blushing face, she suddenly had a bad feeling. Follow his line of sight and look down. The next second, with a boom, her face started to burn. It turned out that she was wearing a newly made shirt today. The shirt is light blue, and there is nothing special about it when worn normally, but once it gets wet, it becomes translucent. Plus, her vest was old and worn very thin, and after being soaked by the rain, it couldn't cover anything at all. She screamed, covered herself, and turned around. But she apparently forgot that her foot was still injured. When he turned around, he was in so much pain that he couldn't stand. Just as she was about to fall, the next second, she was hugged into that strong embrace again. When Fong Qiuyan thought about what kind of situation she was in now, she felt so ashamed and angry that she wanted to die. I didn't want to get close to him in the first place, and now I want to stay away from him even more. Let me go. I don't want to go with you. Hearing this, Lu Jingsong's face turned dark. Gritting his teeth, he glared at her and said, You're not going with me. Are you going to go back like this by yourself? When he thought that she might be seen like this by other men, he wanted to kill someone. Hearing this, Fong Qiuyan was stunned. It was the first time she wore such a nice shirt. How could she know it would be like this when it got wet? But this can't be blamed on Lin Wanshu. After all, her vests are layered, so even if they get wet, she won't be exposed. Covering her chest with her hands, Fang Qiuyan looked a little flustered. Looking at her weak and pitiful appearance, Lu Jingsong couldn't help feeling annoyed. How could he be so mean to her? What if I scare her? Without saying anything else, he took off his green military uniform and put it on her. Put on your clothes first. We have to go down quickly. Don't stay in the rain for too long and catch a cold. He himself was not afraid. After all, getting wet in the rain was a common occurrence for him. But she looked so fragile that he had to worry that she would catch a cold. Only after putting on the military uniform did Fang Qiuyan feel a little safer. Without saying anything to refuse, she reached out to button her shirt. But I don't know if it's because the rain is too heavy or for some other reason, but her hands were shaking so badly that it took her a long time to button one button. Lu Jingsong couldn't bear it anymore, so he reached out and helped her button it up. After putting on his clothes, he took off his military cap and put it on her head. Then, he bent down in front of her and motioned for her to lie down on top of him. Summer military uniform, so Lu Jingsong took it off and gave it to Fang Qiuyan. Now he could only go shirtless. The smooth lines of the tendon meat were revealed in Fang Qiuyan's eyes. The heavy rain hit his bronze skin, splashing water. Knowing that she couldn't be pretentious anymore, Fang Qiuyan pursed her lips and still lay on him. Fang Qiuyan became extremely stiff when she felt the hard muscles. The upper body also subconsciously distanced itself from him. Hold on, I can walk fast. As he said this, he held up her thighs and stood up. Feeling weightless, Fang Qiuyan had to hold onto his shoulders to steady herself from falling. After helping her, Lu Jingsong continued walking down the mountain. And he was just as he said, extremely fast. But even so, Fang Qiuyan refused to put her arms around his neck and only held on to his shoulders from beginning to end. The upper body kept a safe distance from him. In this way, the two of them shuttled through the heavy rain and soon returned to the family compound. As soon as he entered the room, Lu Jingsong did not put the person down, but walked straight to the door of her room with her on his back.
Key.
The room was locked, and Lu Jingsong didn't have the key, so he asked Fang Qiuyan for it. But Fang Qiuyan didn't want him to enter her room. Put me down and I'll open the door and go in myself. Now that she's home, she can jump in. But the man was obviously getting into a fight with her and had no intention of letting her go. The two of them were in a stalemate for a while. When Fang Qiuyan thought about what she looked like under her military uniform, she felt like ants were gnawing at her whole body, and she wished she could stay away from him. Not wanting to argue with him any further, she finally took out her keys. Lu Jingsong took the key, held her with one hand, and opened the door with the other. After the lock was opened, he reached out and pushed it. With a creaky sound, the door slowly opened and a faint fragrance wafted into the air, just like the scent of the woman behind him. Lu Jingsong was distracted and paused before he stepped into the house. There is little furniture in the room and the furnishings are simple. The space, which is neither too big nor too small, is kept tidy and orderly. Lu Jingsong carried her to the stool next to the window. Her clothes were wet, and when she sat on the bed, she wet the sheets. Just after putting the person down, Lu Jingsong suddenly saw a stack of books neatly placed on the table. Was also a book and a primary school student's exercise book spread out on the table. There were lines of neat and beautiful handwriting on the exercise book. Seeing this, Lu Jingsong was stunned on the spot. Although he already knew that she could read, he was still shocked when he saw these things with his own eyes. You wrote all of this? Unable to help himself, he picked up the exercise book and asked. Fang Qiuyan saw him fiddling with her homework book. Her face suddenly turned unhappy. Reaching out to take back her notebook, she said coldly, "It has nothing to do with you. You can leave now." Looking at her cold little face, Lu Jingsong's heart sank, and he remembered the days when she had been avoiding him. He finally met the person. How could he be willing to leave like this? He lowered his lost eyes and squatted down. "Let me see your feet." Hearing this, Fang Qiuyan subconsciously hit her right foot. "No, I'll find one later." Before she could finish her words, her calf was grabbed by the man's big hand. He was so strong that her struggle was like a mayfly trying to shake a tree, completely useless. Fang Qiuyan was angry and anxious. "Let me go, you jerk." As she said that, she raised her other foot and kicked him. But Lu Jingsong is a soldier. Not only has he been to the front line, but daily confrontation training is also commonplace for him. She could even kick him, he easily defused the attack. Not only that, to prevent her from moving, he also clamped her uninjured leg with his arm. Fang Qiuyan's 2 feet were restrained, and she was extremely angry. He raised his hand again and hit him hard. She originally thought that he would dodge like he did just now, but he didn't. There was only a crisp paw sound, and the slap hit him directly in the face. Feeling resentful, Fang Qiuyan did not hold back on the strength in her hands at all. Lu Jingsong's face was hit to the side. After the slap landed, the whole room suddenly fell into deathly silence. Feeling the burning sensation in her palms, Fang Qiuyan was stunned on the spot. Why doesn't he hide? It was unknown how long it had been. The man reached out and slowly wiped the corner of his lips, and a bright red mark fell on his thumb. Fang Qiuyan's pupils shrank, and the burning pain in the palm of her hand became more and more obvious. "Are you done? Are you relieved? If not, slap me again." Turning his head, he looked straight at her. Those deep black pupils seemed to be able to suck people in, and the remaining red at the corner of the lips seemed particularly prominent. The man's bulging pectoral muscles and brachialis muscles showed how terrifying his strength was. It seemed as if she could be killed with just one punch. Be frightened by her own imagination. She closed her eyes and turned her head away. Looking at her pitiful, shivering appearance, Lu Jingsong was so angry that he laughed. "You are so timid that you dare to imitate others and hit others?" Fang Qiuyan bit her lips subconsciously and said nothing. Wet hair stuck tightly to the fair cheeks, adding a touch of delicateness. A sigh escaped from his throat, and finally, he didn't have the heart to scare her, so he reached out and took off her shoes. Fang Qiuyan was wearing cloth shoes that she made herself. The original black cloth shoes have faded, and the soles have been worn out. After taking off the shoes, the red and swollen feet were exposed. He checked carefully and found that there was no dislocation, so he breathed a sigh of relief. "Change your clothes first. I'll get you some medicine to apply." They often bump into things during training, so most of their homes have medicine for injuries. After Lu Jingsong finished speaking, he waited for her to speak before opening the closet and helping her find clothes. Fang Qiuyan had just beaten someone up and was now feeling extremely anxious. How could she even think of stopping him? Only after the man put his clothes and her towel on the bed and closed the door did she breathe a sigh of relief. Didn't expect that she hit him so hard, and he didn't complain to her. She felt complicated. Pursing her lips, she reached out and unbuttoned her military uniform. "The doors here are different from those in my hometown. Once closed, they cannot be opened from the outside. You must use a key to open them." However, when she thought that he was in the next room, Fang Qiuyan still felt an indescribable urgency in her heart. Without delay, she quickly took off her wet clothes, wiped the moisture off her body with a towel, took out the clothes on the bed, and put them on. Just seeing the vest that had been washed so thinly, Fang Qiuyan couldn't help but blush again. She shouldn't have saved this little money. This is so embarrassing. She didn't dare to think about what expression he had when he helped her find clothes. She gritted her teeth and quickly put on her clothes. "I decided in my heart that as soon as my foot healed, I would go to the commune and buy a few vests." He brought her was also newly made, but the color was gray, which was very common in that era. Gray shirt is slightly thicker than the aqua blue one. There shouldn't be any exposure even if it rains. Fang Qiuyan changed her clothes. She finally felt a lot more comfortable. Her hair, and started to wipe it with a towel. Her hair had always grown fast, but before it lacked nutrition and looked like dead grass. Lin Wanshu has been taking care of her body over the past few months. Now not only has my body gained weight, but even my hair has become black and shiny. If you cut off a section, it cannot be restored, and the length is still considerable. After drying her hair, she reached out and fanned out the hair so that it would dry faster. The rain was still pouring outside, and Fang Qiuyan looked worried. She didn't want Lu Jingsong to apply medicine on her. Thinking of this, she decided not to open the door for him. When the rain stopped, she would find a stick to lean on and go to Lin Wanshu to get the medicine. Just as I was thinking this, I heard Lu Jingsong's voice coming from the door. "Have you changed your clothes? I'll come in after you're done." Fang Qiuyan? He wants to come in?
How?
Fang Qiuyan glanced at the key on the table with a look of suspicion. "Please leave the medicine at the door, and I will get it myself later." What he meant, Fang Qiuyan spoke cautiously. Finished her words, there was the sound of a key being inserted into the lock of the door. Then the door was pushed open with a creak. Looking at the tall figure appearing at the door, Fang Qiuyan felt unwell. "How do you have the key?" She glared at him angrily. "There's a spare key." As Lu Jingsong spoke, he walked straight into the room, looking so righteous, as if the gap between them did not exist. Fang Qiuyan was so angry that she almost laughed. "Get out," picked up something next to her and threw it at him. Lu Jingsong caught the thing she threw over and took a closer look. It was a pillow stuffed with rice husks. Suddenly, I felt helpless and a little funny. "You don't even know how to pick something stronger to hit someone with?" Pillow in hand, he walked towards her step by step. Hearing this, Fang Qiuyan became even angrier, her eyes almost spitting fire. Lu Jingsong looked at her little face, which was flushed with anger, and his heart felt as if a feather was gently brushing across it, making him feel itchy. He knew that his idea was wrong, but compared to her cold appearance, he would rather see her now. At least she would have a few nice words with him. Placing the pillow back on the bed, he squatted in front of her with the medicine. Seeing that she couldn't scold him or hit him, Fang Qiuyan was so angry that she couldn't help but raise her foot and kick him away. As soon as Lu Jingsong saw her expression, he knew what she wanted to do. "You want to kick me?" Looking at her restless feet, he asked with a smile. Fang Qiuyan really wanted to kick him, but when she saw his swollen cheek, she suddenly felt uneasy.
I
didn't." As she spoke, she turned her head away. As if not seeing it, he could comfort himself that it wasn't her who hit him in the face. Where had Lu Jingsong ever seen her so cute? He couldn't help but laugh out loud, and his heart softened incredibly. "I'm going to apply the medicine. It will be a little painful. Please bear with it." As he spoke, he picked up the foot that had become more swollen and began to apply medicine on it. Although his movements were very gentle, Fang Qiuyan still couldn't help but gasp in pain and subconsciously pulled her feet back. Just as she moved a little, she was restrained by him again. "Don't move." As he said this, he continued to apply medicine to her. Fang Qiuyan's calf was grabbed, and she was completely unable to move. She could only let him apply medicine to her feet, but it was so painful that she couldn't help but groan. At the beginning, Lu Jingsong was very focused on applying medicine to her. But gradually, listening to her suppressed low hums and smelling her faint fragrance, his movements of applying the medicine became visibly stiff. The scene he just saw in the rain flashed through his mind uncontrollably, and even his breathing became disordered. But soon, he suppressed those charming thoughts. She already hated him, and if he really did anything to her, Lu Jingsong had no doubt that she would hide from him even more. This was not the result he wanted. Not daring to think too much, Lu Jingsong forced himself to apply the medicine to her seriously. When he finally finished wiping it, his forehead was already covered with fine beads of sweat. "You take a rest, I'll go cook." A low, hoarse voice picked up her changed clothes and walked out. When Fang Qiuyan heard that he was going to cook, she suddenly felt unwell again. "I'll do it." With the dishes he cooked, there was no waste of food. Hearing this, Lu Jingsong didn't say anything and just went out with his clothes. Fang Qiuyan stood up by herself, holding onto the table. Just when he was about to find a stick to support himself and go out, Lu Jingsong came back with an umbrella in his hand.
"For you."
Lu Jingsong stuffed the umbrella into her hand. The heavy rain still pouring outside, and did not say anything to refuse. Just gave her the umbrella. "Then how do you get there?" Just after she asked, she was picked up by the thighs in the next second. You hold the umbrella, and we'll go together. Fang Qiuyan never thought that he would be so shameless. Not only did he start fighting, but he also held her like a child. She almost went crazy. How could you do this?
Put me down now.
Hearing this, Lu Jingsong looked at her innocently. Your feet are injured, and you can't touch the water. Do you have any better way to get through this way? Fang Qiuyan. Well, she really hasn't. Finally, she closed her mouth in frustration and gave up struggling completely. But she couldn't help but secretly decide in her heart that once she was admitted into the pharmaceutical factory, the first thing she would do was to move out of the staff quarters. It's too dangerous here. Lu Jingsong didn't know what she was thinking. Seeing that she finally stopped struggling, his heart suddenly softened. In this way, the two of them, one holding an umbrella and the other holding someone, came to the kitchen in the heavy rain. After entering the kitchen, Lu Jingsong supported the person with one hand and moved a high stool with the other hand and placed it next to the stove. Then, he put Fang Qiuyan on the stool. Just tell me what to do. After saying that, he went to put the rice in, looking like he had no intention of letting her do anything. Looking at his busy back, Fang Qiuyan felt very complicated. It is undeniable that his performance in the army can actually be regarded as that of a diligent man. He hated himself at the beginning. He never lacked money for her food. Later, when he found out that Do Hua didn't have new clothes, he would bring her cloth. Knowing that he might be trapped by the rainstorm, he risked his life to find her. Now I cook directly in the kitchen. Such a man would be hard to find in the countryside even with a lantern. But Fang Qiuyan still felt a little uncomfortable. I don't know if it was because those years were so hard, or because there was Fang Dongxue between them. She stared blankly at the heavy rain outside the window, her thoughts in a mess. After Lu Jingsong washed the rice, he took out 3 eggs from the cupboard and then took out a bunch of vegetables from the basket. He washed the vegetables with unfamiliar movements, twisted them into pieces, and placed them in a special dustpan for vegetables. Then, he beat the eggs into a bowl and stirred them clumsily with chopsticks. After doing all this, he turned around and was about to ask her what to do when he saw the woman who was angry and swearing just now staring blankly outside. Her long hair was spread out behind her, her porcelain-white profile was half hidden in the dim light, her cold eyes were misty, filled with emotions that he could not understand. At this moment, she seemed to be isolated in an invisible and intangible wall. It is so close, yet it seems so far away. This elusive feeling made his heart suffocate, as if a large ball of cotton was stuffed into it, making him feel stuffy and blocked. These days, Lu Jingsong regretted his stupidity all the time. How could he leave her in her hometown for so many years without caring about her? I always think back to how skinny she looked when she returned home last year. His heart felt like it was being torn apart by something, and the pain was so severe that he could hardly breathe. He no longer wanted to care about the right and wrong of the past. At this moment, Lu Jingsong just wanted to live a good life with her, just like any other couple. But she obviously didn't intend to accept him. The closer he got, the more desperate Lu Jingsong became to discover her resistance and rejection of him. However, he couldn't let go any longer. Hiding the pain in his eyes, he softened his voice and said to her, "Qiuyan, wash the vegetables. What should I do?" After hearing this, Fang Qiuyan seemed to finally come to her senses. Said calmly, "Fried eggs and boiled vegetable and egg soup." Seeing her become distant and cold again, Lu Jingsong felt bitter in his heart. Trying to keep his expression, he nodded. Okay, I understand. He deserved it if she ignored him. Who is he to complain? The next day, Lin Wanshu heard that Fang Qiuyan had sprained her foot, so she went to visit her early in the morning with her own medicine. There was still a light drizzle in the sky. Xiao Miao Miao was wearing a bamboo hat on her head, a small straw raincoat specially made by Qin Yan, and a pair of small waders on her feet. Walk and play in the water along the way. Since Sun Shifeng came to the staff quarters, she has not allowed Miao Miao to go to kindergarten. It's not that I'm reluctant to spend the money. I just think she's too young and can't learn anything. The other brothers and sisters all went to school, and Xiao Miao Miao was very bored. When she heard that her mother was coming to see Sister Dohua, she followed her. As soon as I entered the door, I saw Dohua from afar, who was also wearing a straw hat and a raincoat. However, the hat and raincoat on Dohua were obviously too big, and one could tell at a glance that they were what Fang Qiuyan wore on a daily basis. The two little guys met. They were overjoyed. They held hands and started chattering. Lin Wanshu ignored them and went straight to Fang Qiuyan's room with the medicine. As soon as I entered the room, I saw Fang Qiuyan lying on the bed. Her right foot was wrapped tightly, and there were a few boards underneath to cushion it. Seeing her like this, Lin Wanshu was shocked. What happened? How did you sprain your ankle? Fang Qiuyan's feet hurt badly.
She didn't sleep well last night.
She finally closed her eyes and fell into a drowsy sleep, but her dream was full of messy scenes. At this moment, she was still a little dazed, and when she saw Lin Wanshu coming, she forced herself to cheer up. I went to collect firewood yesterday, but it suddenly rained heavily, and I sprained my ankle. Just listening to her words, Lin Wanshu felt extremely thrilling. Fortunately, Captain Lu came to find you in time, otherwise the consequences would be disastrous. After hearing this, Fang Qiuyan also felt that she was too ungrateful yesterday. When someone tried to save her with good intentions, she not only kicked him, but also beat him. Thinking back to the blush on his cheeks that had not yet subsided in the morning, she couldn't help but feel ashamed. Seeing her guilty look, Lin Wanshu suddenly became curious. What's wrong? What did you say to Captain Lu yesterday? Why do you look like that? Hearing this, Fang Qiuyan blushed and her voice became hesitant.
I
beat him yesterday. Hearing this, Lin Wanshu's face was suddenly filled with shock. When she came to her senses, she silently gave her a thumbs up. Okay, Comrade Qiuyan, you're so brave now? Do you dare to fight with gay men? Fang Qiuyan was stunned. Was she praising herself? Wanshu, don't you think I'm ungrateful? Not to mention the fact that he cooked, just the fact that he risked such a great danger to save her. No matter how big the grudge they had in the past, she should let it go. Knowing her past and having seen her embarrassment, Lin Wanshu felt a little pity when she heard her confused words. Qiuyan, I am not you. I have never experienced what you have gone through, and I am not qualified to judge your actions. Only you know whether you feel wronged or not. I just hope that you can become stronger in the future. Maybe when that day comes, you will know what you should do. Hearing this, Fang Qiuyan's eyes couldn't help but warm up. She knew that she wouldn't feel that she was being unreasonable. If there is anyone in this world who can be so tolerant and understanding of her, it must be Lin Wanshu. Sometimes Fang Qiuyan thought that she should be grateful to Lu Jingsong. If he hadn't brought her to the staff quarters, she would never have met Lin Wanshu in her life.
Well,
I know what to do. Thank you, Wanshu. She is not a wooden person. How can she not see what Lu Jingsong means to her now? But she couldn't let go of the past grudge for a while. In that case, let's make ourselves stronger. Just like Lin Wanshu said, maybe when that day comes, she will know exactly what she wants. The two were talking. Lin Wanshu had already helped her untie the bandage. Her ankle was more swollen beneath the bandage. Lin Wanshu took out disinfectant and carefully cleaned her feet. Then, he opened his ointment and used a soft squeezer to gently squeeze the ointment onto her feet. Gasped in pain at first, but after a while, I felt a chill on my feet. The coldness seemed to penetrate her skin directly, and wherever it reached, the pain was quickly relieved. After applying the medicine, Fang Qiuyan felt her feet felt much better. Looked at her foot covered with ointment with a look of surprise. Wanshu, you don't know any magic, do you? Why are the medicines you make so effective? Hearing this, Lin Wanshu immediately put on a resentful expression. I thought you knew I was a fairy a long time ago. How come you just discovered it now? After hearing this, Fang Qiuyan was so amused that she immediately made a gesture to apologize. Oh, it's all my fault. I didn't recognize the identity of our fairy Wanshu. The two of them laughed and joked, and Fang Qiuyan's mood soon improved. On the other side, After Lu Jingsong finished training with red and swollen cheeks and disbanded the team, he hurried home. Along the way, it attracted countless curious glances. Lu Jingsong had no doubt that after today the entire military camp would be talking about his face. But he couldn't care less. Thinking of the person who left him with the slap mark, his steps became more urgent. I don't know how she's doing at home. Lu Jingsong was walking towards the door when suddenly someone patted his shoulder. When she turned around, she met Du Wangshuan's eyes, which were burning with gossip. "Old Lu, I wanted to ask you just now what happened to your face." He asked what happened, but the expression on his face clearly asked if he was beaten by his wife. "Lu Jing, you're free?" Hearing this, Du Wangxian chuckled. "I don't have much free time, but I still have time to care about my comrades. To be honest, your wife didn't kick you out of bed last night, did she?" Hearing this, Lu Jingsong suddenly felt depressed. It would be nice if I really got kicked out of bed. But the reality is that he can't even enter her room. She even asked for the spare key back yesterday. Du Wangxian was just joking. He didn't believe in his heart that Fang Qiuyan would do such a thing. After all, in order to marry Lu Jingsong, she even did something like stealing her sister's fiancé. He asked this, he was actually really concerned about how the slap mark came about. Hearing Lu Jingsong's words at this moment, he couldn't help but widen his eyes. "Hiss! Something is wrong? What's going on between you and your wife?" Lu Jingsong was feeling depressed right now, so he didn't hide anything when he heard this, and told him that Fang Qiuyan had been avoiding him. Du Wangxian looked at his distressed expression and suddenly fell silent. "You mean you care about her now, but she doesn't care about you anymore? Isn't this too fantastical?" How much he hated Fang Qiuyan in the past few years. I didn't even dare to mention that name in front of him, because he would definitely turn against me if I did. The look of deep sorrow and hatred. Lu Jingsong. Although I don't want to admit it, this is the fact now. Seeing him nod, Du Wangxian now really felt sympathy for his brother. Patting his shoulder, he sighed and said, "I'm not saying anything. You haven't been home for a few years. How can you expect others to treat you well? Without mentioning anything else, you should treat her to the warm house dinner first, introduce her to everyone, and let her feel that you value her." After hearing this, Lu Jingsong also felt that this made sense. Wait a while. She sprained her ankle. And he had to go back and discuss it with her. "Okay, I'll wait for you. If not, I'll ask my wife to do some ideological work on her." After saying that, he lowered his voice and taught him some tricks on how to coax his wife. Lu Jingsong. This. Reliable? But no matter what, he still accepted his kindness. At the same time, Lin Wanshu and several military wives had just come out of Fang Qiuyan's house. Knowing that she sprained her leg, everyone came over to help her spontaneously. Help her go to the toilet, cook for her, etc. Fang Qiuyan was well taken care of throughout the morning. Although she knew that the military wives were all very nice, Fang Qiuyan never thought that they would actually come directly to her house to take care of her. She was deeply moved by this kind of concern without any blood relationship. After the military wives went back, Fang Qiuyan took out the book and started reading again. The test is tomorrow, and although she has memorized the entire book, Fang Qiuyan is still worried. She reads whenever she has free time. As soon as Lu Jingsong came back, he went straight to Fang Qiuyan's room. He had originally prepared to knock on the door, but he didn't expect that her door was not only unlocked, but also open. He walked to the door anxiously and was about to ask her how she was, but he froze on the spot. On the bed, a slender figure was sitting on the headboard, reading a book. Bright light shone through the window, hitting her focused and serious little face. Lu Jingsong felt his heartbeat suddenly become uncontrollable. Plop, plop. From ancient times to the present, people have naturally admired cultured people. Lu Jingsong is no exception. Just looking at her made his heart beat incredibly fast. The man's gaze was so scorching. How could Fang Qiuyan not feel it? But she really didn't want to pay attention to him, so she just pretended not to know. But Lu Jingsong came back to find her in the first place. So, how could he let her escape? "Qiuyan, how is your foot? Do you need to go to the toilet? I'll take you there." In the morning, he was afraid that it would be troublesome for her to go to the toilet, so he brought her a bucket specifically for urine. But now he stood at the door and didn't smell any strange smell. "No, my sisters-in-law came to see me just now. If you have nothing to do, go and have dinner. I still need to read," Fang Qiuyan said, without raising her head. Although I was mentally prepared, she would not pay attention to me. But after hearing this, Lu Jingsong couldn't help feeling a little disappointed. However, he did not go into the house for fear of disturbing her reading. "Well, I'm going to eat and I'll come see you later." After saying this, he paused, then retracted his gaze and went to the kitchen. But after the meal, he didn't even have the chance to find Fang Qiuyan as the assembly horn sounded from the military camp again. Lu Jingsong only had time to say a few words to her before he hurried back to the camp. And he left and didn't come back the whole night. Yang Zheng was afraid that Fang Qiuyan would have to get up to go to the bathroom at night and no one would take care of her, so she came over and slept with her. Early the next morning, she went back to wash up, then brought breakfast for the mother and daughter. After a while, Lin Wanshu and other military wives also came over. Everyone brought the same food with them. It was obvious that he was here to deliver breakfast to Fang Qiuyan. Fang Qiuyan was so moved by the variety of breakfasts on the table that she almost cried. "Qiuyan, eat quickly. After you finish eating, we will gather at the square." Tang Qian couldn't wait any longer and urged. Used to study as if her life depended on it, but now she has been studying very hard in the past few months, just for today. The other military wives also looked eager to try. Hearing this, Fang Qiuyan didn't say anything else and started to eat breakfast seriously. Xiao Miao Miao also went to the square with her mother today and is now sitting next to the tofu pudding. I saw that she was holding a fried dough stick in her hand. Every time Do Hua took a mouthful of porridge, she would feed her a mouthful of fried dough stick. Sister Hua Hua, imitating the way her grandmother usually fed her, she coaxed Do Hua like a little adult. Fang Fang was watching from the side and was almost dying of laughter. She teased her. "Miao Miao, you are biased. Why did you only feed Sister Hua Hua and not Brother Jianxi?" Looking at her son, who was staring at her eagerly, she directly gave him an assist. Hearing this, Xiao Miao Miao blinked in confusion. Didn't Brother Jianxi eat it already? But she only hesitated for a moment before handing the fried dough sticks to Feng Jianxi and coaxed him in the same way. "Brother, Feng Jianxi never thought that his mother would let Miao Miao feed her." He immediately felt sick. He stepped back suddenly and shook his head desperately. "I don't need it. You can feed it to Do Hua." Shen Yu, who was standing by, saw this and clapped his legs and laughed. "Jianxi, why don't you eat?" When you see him looking back, Feng Jianxi frowned and rolled his eyes at him. "If you want to eat it yourself. I'm a man, I don't need to be fed." Miao Miao saw that Jianxi didn't eat and was even avoiding him. She looked at Shen Xi for help.
Shenchi.
"Miao Miao, give Do Hua some to eat. Jianxi won't be hungry." Even if he was hungry, it was not Miao Miao's turn to feed him. Hearing this, Miao Miao took back the fried dough sticks and fed them to Do Hua. While feeding him, she said to Yu Fang Fang, "Brother doesn't want to eat. Yu Fang Fang." Looking at her son with a resentful look on his face, she smiled a little awkwardly. Why is he glaring at her? Isn't she doing this to help him? Feng Jianxi sighed deeply, indicating that he was extremely tired. Several military wives couldn't stop laughing when they saw the mother and son loving and hating each other. Originally a little nervous, but now I feel a lot more relaxed. After a while, Fang Qiuyan finished her breakfast. Tang Qian was the strongest here, and without giving anyone else a chance to attack, she simply carried Fang Qiuyan on her back. The group of people walked towards the square of the family compound, chatting and laughing. The square was already crowded with people, and all the military wives in the entire family compound were here. Lin Wanshu approached. She heard someone calling her. "Are you Comrade Lin Wanshu?" Lin Wanshu turned around. She saw a strange young girl. She had her hair tied in a high ponytail and her fitted apricot shirt tucked into her trousers, looking neat and capable. I don't know why she called me, but Lin Wanshu still nodded politely. "I am Lin Wanshu. May I ask who you are?" Upon hearing this, The female comrade immediately smiled warmly and extended her hand to her. Nice to meet you. I'm Su Mingqi's sister. My name is Su Menjing.
Shumeni?
Isn't she the deputy political commissar's wife? Don't hit a smiling person. When someone took the initiative to get to know her, Lin Wanshu returned a polite smile and shook her hand. Nice to meet you. Su Menjing was obviously a very outgoing person. After shaking hands with her, she immediately started talking. I heard that you were the one who founded Shengchun Pharmaceutical Factory. How come you are so powerful? Shengchun Pharmaceutical Factory was a name that Lin Wanshu and several military wives came up with. Lin Wanshu smiled modestly. I don't deserve it. It's all thanks to everyone. I just made some suggestions. Hearing this, Su Menjing looked at her with disapproval. Comrade Wanshu, you are too modest. I have heard about your deeds before I came to the family compound. If I had half of your ability, my parents would wake up laughing in their dreams. It was clearly a compliment, but it made one hear how favored she was at home. Lin Wanshu had heard before that Su Mingqi's father and mother were both university professors in the Eastern Province, and his family could be said to be a scholarly family. Also looked gentle and elegant, which was completely different from the lively and erratic personality of Su Menjing. Lin Wanshu still maintained a polite smile on her face, neither eager nor cold. Comrade Su, thank you for your compliment. I have other things to do, so I won't talk to you anymore. After all, today is a big day for the military wives to take exams, and she has a lot to do. Hearing this, Su Menjing still waved at her enthusiastically with her smile on her face. Okay, you go ahead and do your work. I'll come back to you later. Lin Wanshu nodded and left. Xiao Miao went out to play with her brothers and sisters, and with Xin Xiai and Wang Qingqing around, Lin Wanshu had nothing to worry about. The exam was held in one of the conference rooms. The tables in the conference room have been moved and arranged in a row, neatly arranged on the table, and today's test is to identify the herbs. The admission scores are ranked from high to low, and 2/3 of the people are selected to enter the factory. In order to be fair, in addition to Lin Wanshu and Ma Qiuping, 2 doctors and Deputy Political Commissar Nanjing were also invited to the conference room. The doctor and Lin Wanshu were responsible for judging whether the wives' answers were correct, while Ma Qiuping and Nanjing were responsible for monitoring whether there was any cheating. Soon the exam began. The military wives waited in the square, and only those whose numbers were called could come in. I don't know how lucky Fang Qiuyan was. She directly drew number 1. Tang Qian carried the person to conference room number 1. Seeing that she had sprained her foot, Ma Qiuping took over and helped carry her. From the first herb to the last, the past and answer the questions along the way. Not every military wife can read, so they don't have to write in the exam. Answer directly, stating the name of the herb and its main effects. Fang Qiuyan can fluently tell the name and specific function of each one after just one look. Among the 20 kinds of herbs, this shocked Ma Qiuping, who was carrying her on her back. Xiao Fang, don't tell me you were a doctor before, right? After all, she had read her information, so how come she didn't know how amazing she was? Hearing this, Fang Qiuyan smiled shyly. I'm not a doctor. I just have a very good nose. I can remember any medicine after smelling it.
Ma Qiuping.
Well, it turns out he is gifted. As long as someone is talented, there is no one in the army who doesn't like them, and the same goes for Ma Qiuping. Knowing that she had a very sensitive sense of smell, she looked at her as if she were some rare treasure. Fang Qiuyan blushed at the sight. There were many people waiting outside, so Ma Qiuping didn't chat with her for long. He carried the person to the stone bench under the tree outside. Although it was an oral answer, after all, not everyone is as good as Fang Qiuyan. Therefore, Lin Wanshu also set a time. If you can't answer within 20 seconds, try another herb. The numbers drawn earlier went smoothly. The military wives answered the questions they could answer, and those who couldn't answer did not cheat even if they exceeded the time limit. But when it came to Guan Hongmei's turn, the style changed. This is obviously Bai Ji. Are you deliberately making things difficult for me because you don't like me? Lin Wanshu had already prepared herself for someone to cheat, so she wasn't surprised. This is Fang Ji. 20 seconds have passed. Please continue to answer the next one. But Tan Hongmei had already answered 5 herbs incorrectly in a row. How could she accept this? Doesn't even know if she recognizes the person behind her. If she gets deducted points for this, will she still have a chance to enter the factory? I don't care. You did it on purpose. I won't accept it. With her hands on her hips, she glared at Lin Wanshu. A doctor wearing glasses next to him was keeping score. Hearing this, he looked up at Guan Hongmei. This is indeed Stephania Titrandra. The cross-section is flat, grayish-white, powdery, and has sparsely arranged radial textures on the surface. The cross-section of Angelica Dahirica is white or grayish-white. Although it is also powdery, the cambium ring is brown and close to square or nearly round. Guan Hongmei know what cross-section and powder properties are? She was certain that this thing was Baiji, and they were deliberately making things difficult for her. When she thought that she might not be able to get a job at the factory, she suddenly felt sad. She sat down on the ground, slapped her thigh, and started crying. I have a miserable life. Lin Wanshu, you are taking revenge on me. I answered the question correctly, but you colluded with other doctors to deliberately embarrass me and deduct my points. I am not convinced, and I will report it to my superiors. Seeing that she was throwing a tantrum, everyone present looked a little unhappy, especially Ma Qiuping. She is not only the director of the Women's Federation, but also the former director of the Family Compound Committee. Such a weird thing happened in the family compound, and she felt ashamed. Guan Hongmei, that's enough. Look at what you look like now. There are so many people waiting outside. If they all cheat like you, will we be able to continue with the exam? Guan Hongmei felt extremely aggrieved. This is obviously Baiji. What basis does she have to judge that I am wrong? Hearing this, Lin Wanshu finally raised her eyes and looked at her. If you're new, practice more. It's been more than 4 months since the news came out, and other military wives are busy studying every day. What about you? What are you doing? Busy using connections? Sorry, I don't take backdoors here. Whoever has the ability can do it. As soon as these words fell, Guan Hongmei's face suddenly turned red. She wanted to say that she learned too. But when she thought about other military wives who kept mumbling to themselves even while working, she felt a little guilty. In the end, it was Nanjing who made the final decision. This comrade has exceeded the exam time limit and can leave now. Hearing this, Guan Hongmei felt like the sky was falling. Why is the time limit exceeded? I only answered 10 kinds of herbs. Nanjing looked at his watch and said gently, the test time is 7 minutes, and you have exceeded it by 2 minutes. His smile looked so gentle and polite, but Guan Hongmei inexplicably felt uneasy in her heart. A few times, but in the end she didn't dare to defend herself.
No.
As she spoke, she lowered her head and walked out in a daze, like a defeated rooster. Guan Hongmei had the courage to throw a tantrum. She didn't dare to go too far. If the man at home is implicated, she will lose her only hope. The people outside heard that Guan Hongmei got the answer wrong and was cheating, and was asked to leave before she could even finish the rest of the answer. There was an uproar. With her experience as a lesson, the people who followed her did not dare to act rashly, and all answered the questions honestly. If you answer incorrectly, you may still have a chance, but if you are asked to leave, you will have no chance at all. Guan Hongmei knew that she had no hope. She still refused to leave and sat under the tree wiping her tears. After a while, a figure sat down next to him. Sister-in-law, what's wrong with you? Guan Hongmei was feeling upset, so how could she have the mood to talk to anyone? The visitor didn't seem to mind and took out a handkerchief and handed it to her. Sister-in-law, please wipe your tears first. Hearing this, Guan Hongmei finally reacted. Seeing the pink handkerchief in front of her, she took it without hesitation. She wiped her tears, blew her nose hard, and then handed the handkerchief back. Thank you. Su Menjing looked at the handkerchief handed to her and almost couldn't keep the smile on her face. Sister-in-law, we are destined to be together, so I will give this handkerchief to you. Heard that she was going to give her the pink handkerchief, her eyes lit up. Without any hesitation, she put the handkerchief she had just used to wipe her eyes and blow her nose into her pocket. How can I be so embarrassed? Thank you so much.
Sumending.
You're welcome. We LL have plenty of time to interact in the future. Guan Hongmei took the handkerchief and felt much better. She also finally realized that the person in front of her looked very unfamiliar. Comrade, who are you from? Why haven't I seen you before? Thinking she was a new military wife, she asked curiously. I am Su Mingqi's sister, and Nanjing is my brother-in-law. Guan Hongmei. Is he the deputy political commissar who just invited her out? Oh, I have something else to do, so I won't chat with you anymore. After saying that, Guan Hongmei got up and left. Her brother-in-law should at least take half the responsibility for not getting the job. What's the point of her pretending to be nice to her now? Seeing her expression change so quickly, Su Menjing was dumbfounded. What's going on? Weren't we chatting just now? After hitting a wall one after another, she couldn't help but feel a little discouraged. Are the things that the man said to her in the dream true? Could someone really take away everything that belonged to her? A country bumpkin?
Is it?
Su Menjing carefully searched the military wives in the square, but found nothing wrong. However, when she thought about how that person could always accurately predict things about her, Su Menjing did not dare to take it lightly. Not far away, Fang Qiuyan also looked at her curiously several times. For some reason, she felt that Su Mingqi's sister looked strangely familiar. It seems like I've seen it somewhere. But she thought about it for a long time and couldn't remember where she had seen it. In the end, she could only suppress the strange thought in her heart. First test, she had nothing to do and is now waiting for other military wives. What I'm testing all day today. Practical test tomorrow, and the grades will also be given on the spot. The scores will be written on a piece of paper and taken home by the military wives. The admission results will be announced 3 days after both exams are completed. The morning exam lasted until about 12 noon. Not long after, Tang Qian and a few others came out, surrounding Lin Wanshu. Unlike the military wives who looked sad, they all looked very relaxed, and you could tell at a glance that they had done well in the exam. Guan Hongmei looked at their smiling faces and became so angry that her nose became crooked.
Cheating. You all cheated.
Lin Wanshu, you must have told them the answers in advance, right? Otherwise, why would they all look so confident of victory? Hearing this, the military wives who had not done well in the exam immediately cast suspicious glances at those people. Yes, they have such a good relationship with Lin Wanshu. Maybe she had already revealed what the test would be about today. If that's the case, it would be so unfair to them. Hearing this, Lin Wanshu rolled her eyes suspiciously. Let me tell you, today's herbs were brought by the 2 doctors on short notice. I don't even know their names or which hospital they are from. Also, I don't know what medicine they will bring this afternoon. But the military wives didn't believe this at all. As long as one is a human being, there will be selfishness. These people play with Lin Wanshu every day. How could she not tell them the content of the exam? Lin Wanshu hadn't thought about satisfying everyone. Facing the questioning gazes, she said calmly, "They have collected no less than 50 kinds of herbs for me in the past few months. If you collect them every day, it will be difficult for you to forget them." Hearing this, the military wives who had been full of doubts suddenly lowered their heads. It turned out that they all thought going up the mountain to collect herbs was too tiring. After collecting it a few times, it didn't go up much. Only when I needed to see a doctor would I collect a little to pay for medical expenses. If I really couldn't collect it, I would exchange it with bills. Even after the news of the exam came out, quite a few people still failed to persevere. After all, many of the wives of soldiers living in the family compound came from the city. How could they have ever done such hard work? Can persist in collecting them every day. They don't charge for their medical treatment, and even the herbs they collect are for the purpose of training them for their jobs. Now that they didn't do well in the exam, who can they blame? A group of military wives left dejectedly. Guan Hongmei was still very unwilling, but she couldn't say anything, so she could only leave angrily. Fang Qiuyan didn't have to take the exam in the afternoon, so she just stayed at home obediently. Applying Lin Wanshu's medicine yesterday, my feet no longer hurt as much as they did at the beginning. But she didn't dare to walk directly because she was afraid that the recovery would be slow. Tang Qian just brought her the crutch her father used before, and she used it to walk, which was quite convenient. Knowing that Lu Jingsong had not returned, several military wives came over in the afternoon to help her cook dinner and feed the chickens. Yang Zheng was the last to leave, and they even brought her bath water into the shower room. If Fang Qiuyan hadn't insisted, she probably wouldn't have wanted to go back. After making sure that she could really walk normally with the help of crutches, Yang Zheng gave her a few more instructions before leaving. There were 2 stools in the shower room, one for her to sit on and the other for clothes. Sitting on a stool, she took a quick bath. But when she was about to put on her clothes, she suddenly discovered that one piece was missing. And it was the one that embarrassed her the day before yesterday. But she clearly remembered that she had taken it, so how could it be missing? Fang Qiuyan, not giving up, searched carefully again. After she was sure that there was nothing wrong, she felt terrible. Tofu pudding. There was no other way. She could only ask her daughter for help. But after shouting several times, there was no response. Just then, a familiar sound of footsteps suddenly came from the yard. Perhaps he heard her call, and he ran towards the shower room quickly. After a while, Lu Jingsong's nervous voice came from outside the door. Qiuyan, what's wrong? Did you fall? Fang Qiuyan. Fang Qiuyan didn't expect that he would come back suddenly, and she felt terrible. When she remained silent, there was an anxious knock on the door. Qiuyan, speak. Fang Qiuyan was afraid that he would break in directly, so she quickly said, I didn't fall. Duet knock. As she spoke, she put her clothes on carelessly. But in her haste, she accidentally scratched her injured foot when putting on her pants, which had already healed a lot. Suddenly hurt so much that she couldn't help but gasp. Now Lu Jingsong outside the door became even more nervous. Thinking that she had fallen and still refused to let him in, he knocked on the door again. Fang Qiuyan was almost naked and was afraid that he would break in, so she could only bite the bullet and say, I'm really fine, I just missed a piece of clothing. After saying this, the knocking on the door finally stopped. After a moment, the man's voice was heard again at the door. Whatever you missed, I'll get it for you. Fang Qiuyan. She didn't want him to take it at all. If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have called Do Hua and would have just worn a shirt and gone back. Now, it's not right if she says it, and it's not right if she doesn't say it. Seeing that she was silent again, Lu Jingsong suddenly had an idea and asked in a low voice, Did it leak out? Through the thin door panel. Fang Qiuyan subconsciously covered herself, her face almost burning. But he had already guessed it, and there was no point in her arguing with him. Thinking of this, she suppressed her shame and said, Although her voice was as soft as a mosquito's buzz, Lu Jingsong still heard it. Wait, I'll find it for you now. After saying that, he turned and ran to her room. But just as I reached the door, I saw a vest lying on the ground. Realizing that it must have been dropped here by her, Lu Jingsong bent down and picked it up. However, as soon as he got the vest in his hands, he was stunned. It turned out that it had rained the day before, and the light in the house was dim. When he was looking for clothes for her, he couldn't actually see clearly what her clothes looked like. At this moment, looking at the cloth in my hands that had been washed into a thin piece, a feeling of sourness mixed with pain suddenly surged into my heart. The vest in her hand seemed like her silent accusation. Remind him how bad he had been to her in the past. Whenever he thought of what she had gone through in those years, Lu Jingsong wished he could slap himself hard a few times. She didn't hit him lightly that day. Holding the vest in his trembling hands, he walked towards the shower room with mixed feelings. Fang Qiuyan had slowly put on her pants and was now waiting for him to hand her a vest, feeling uncomfortable. Time seemed to have stopped, and every second seemed so long. I don't know how long it took, but the footsteps came towards the side again. But Fang Qiuyan felt inexplicably heavy as she listened. But I didn't have the mind to think about what happened to him. At this moment, she just wished she could put on her clothes quickly and hide in her room. So embarrassing. Knock, knock, knock. After a moment, there was a knock on the door. Fang Qiuyan hid behind the door, took a deep breath, and then slowly opened a gap. The gap was narrow enough for just one arm to fit through. But even with such a small gap, Lu Jingsong still smelled a warm fragrance with a hint of moisture. Looking at the white and delicate arms stretched out in front of him, he was stunned and couldn't react for a long time. Fang Qiuyan had her hand stretched out for a long time, but when she saw that he hadn't given her the clothes yet, she suddenly became furious. Where are the clothes? It must be said that she had a good voice. Even her angry voice made Lu Jingsong feel tingling and numb. But he didn't dare to think about it anymore, and he put the vest stiffly into her open palm. Fang Qiuyan had been waiting for so long that she was getting extremely anxious. The vest in her hands, she couldn't wait to grab it and take it back. However, it was unclear whether her movements were too fast or Lu Jingsong's movements were too slow. She grabbed his hand directly. The moment their fingertips touched, Lu Jingsong felt as if his whole body was electrified, numb and tingling. But Fang Qiuyan was so frightened that she let go of her hands and vest. Careful! Lu Jingsong quickly caught the vest, paused, and put it in her hands again. After Fang Qiuyan was sure that she was grabbing the vest, she quickly withdrew her hand and closed the door with a bang. Lu Jingsong. After getting her vest back, Fang Qiuyan was very upset. She paused for a moment before gritting her teeth and putting it on. Looking at the expression on her face, if one didn't know, one would think that this vest had some deep hatred with her.